Hey, Kill, what's up? Yo, out of nowhere, kita stream. Nggak jelas kenapa. Nggak sih, jelas sih kenapa. Ya di sini ada new game plus, man. Oh, nggak expect sih kalau ada orang yang lihat jam 4 pagi gitu. Ini emang mendadak banget gitu loh. Mendadak. Ini eventnya event baru, man. Jadi agak susah gitu. Ini buat kalian yang nonton ulang stream ya. But anyway, seperti itu. Tuh, notif. Grup. Oke, New Game Plus ini adalah event yang baru. Event dari YouTuber-YouTuber. Apaan nih? Ada yang lihat, men. Oke, oke. Ini jam 4 padahal. Aku juga baru bangun tidur nih. Ya, bentar. Ya, New Game Plus itu event yang baru. Kukira video, Bang. Enggak ya. Ini ya ini nih kita kita mau lihat event game. Aku belum belum selesai intro tadi. Oke, oke. Eh, jadi ada beberapa YouTuber, ada kayak influencer gitu loh, influencer game yang mereka gabung bikin event bareng ya. Salah satunya yang paling aku ikuti itu eh Look sama Luality gitu. Kemudian ada teman-temannya yang lain gitu ya. Mereka bikin event sendiri. Ini event pertama mereka. So ada beberapa beberapa informasi yang akan dikasih tahu di sini. Bentar. Aku buka ya di Discord sebenarnya kemarin kemarin. Iya, kemarin sih. Kemarin malam. Aku ngasih tahu di announcement. Ini mana? Ya, kelihatan nggak ya? Nah, ini deretan-deretan publisher, deretan-deretan studio yang akan mengumumkan di event Game Plus ini. Nah, so sebenarnya ini event yang pertama dan dikhususkan, bukan dikhususkan, iya diperuntukkan untuk game-game yang nggak punya kesempatan gitu. Karena event ini tuh event gratis, bukan event yang gede berbayar. Udah mulai, udah ada musiknya, bentar, mana tadi? Oh ini, cek lagi, Yamrob. Aku nggak terlalu ngikutin Yamrob ya. Yang paling ngikutin Luality loh, lucu banget ya, pinter banget dia. Gamer cewek, nggak jualan tetek tapi dia jualan beneran gaming dan pinter. Oke, so beberapa studionya sebenarnya indie game ya, rata-rata ini gamenya indie dan nggak terlalu gede-gede banget, meskipun ada beberapa studio yang gede seperti kayak Ubisoft. Ini yang paling aku bikin penasaran, Ubisoft nampilin apa nih. Cuman di trailernya sih nampilin ini ya, apa tuh, Division 2. Mungkin cuman Division 2, nggak tahu ada Assassin's Creed atau enggak gitu, I don't know. Iya, Ubud mau announce apa di event ini juga aku nggak paham. Tapi kayaknya nggak mungkin ya. Aku ekspektasiku low banget gitu loh untuk event yang pertama kali kan. Masa event pertama kali gini langsung dikasih pengumuman game yang gede? Menurutku enggak sih, nggak mungkin. Jadi mungkin game-game yang lama gitu. Di sini tuh ada beberapa studio-studio yang gede, men, kayak NetEase nih. Kemudian ada Per Abyss. Ini Per Abyss nanti ada Crimson Desert juga. Cuman showcase doang gitu. Di game-game yang udah diumumin ditampilin lagi di sini. Kayak gitu. Kemudian ada apa lagi yang gede ya? THQ Nordic, ini THQ juga gede. Terus Xbox Obsidian juga lumayan. Nah, cuman itu doang sih ya. Cuman itu doang yang kelihatan gede. Yang lainnya game-game indie semuanya. Mungkin game indinya juga lumayan keren gitu. Ini showcase-nya. Ada yang keren, ada yang mungkin biasa aja kita nggak tahu, tapi yang ditampilin di sini menurut keterangannya 45 game. Oh, ada Don Walker juga nih, Don Walker. Lumayan tuh. Terus ini aku nggak tahu nih gimana. Ada Warren Smith. Tapi jangan expect game-game yang gede. So, ya itu aja. Karena di sini ada Ubisoft, ya mungkin aku terlalu naif. Mungkin ya terlalu naif untuk mengharapkan satu hal yang gede. Kayak Prince of Persia atau apa. Nggak mungkin. Atau udah selesai. Assassin's Creed gitu. Loh, ini Division 2 nih. Ya itulah, enjoy aja untuk beberapa jam ke depan. Why not 4K? Dia bilang why not 4K. Ini event pertama ya, cuman HD doang.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a fantastic fantasy RPG.
Old school RuneScape is the greatest game of all time.
Lies of P is a better video game than
Kalau langsung
Bloodborne.
tiba-tiba
The
loop
RPG
tadi.
category is so broad to the point that it's meaningless.
Mouse and keyboard is easier to be good at than controller.
The Horizon franchise is very mid.
A battle royale would
Horizon
not have saved
franchise
Halo
very
Infinite.
mid.
A battle royale would have saved Halo Infinite.
Multiplayer games are held to lower standards because everything you do with your friends is fun by default.
If most of our favorite games launched today, people would call them bad.
Hideo Kojima writes dialogue like an alien trying to convince everyone else he's a person, and it's bad.
Early access is good for video
Itu
games.
si
Arkham
loop.
Origins has the
Look,
best written
look,
story in the Arkham series.
Nintendo is held to different standards than other companies.
Marathon
Okay.
is a more fun game than Arc Raiders.
PC or console? PC.
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 Console.
Wow.
PlayStation or Xbox? PlayStation.
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 Your mom.
Your mom.
Or control? Mouse and keyboard.
Mouse and keyboard.
Depends for what.
Controller.
Controller.
player or multiplayer?
Single player.
Multiplayer.
Single player.
Single player.
Competitive or casual?
Casual.
Competitive.
Kompetitif
Casual.
dia.
Casual.
Next.
Call of Duty or Battlefield?
Battlefield.
You bastard.
Nggak milih lagi.
Battlefield.
Call of Duty.
Ugh.
Counter-Strike or Valorant?
Valorant.
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike.
Apex or Fortnite?
Apex.
Fortnite.
We can't gritty with Master Chief and Apex, so we'll go Fortnite.
Kayaknya duality juga.
Whatever.
Ya, nggak suka duality.
Marvel Rivals.
You say neither or neither? I'm from Iowa. Neither?
Rivals.
Neither.
Marvel Rivals.
Ooh. That's a
Tapi
good
ini aku
one.
nggak ada monet ya, nggak ada iklan, jadi kalian bebas nontonnya, ini aman.
Like, release Overwatch?
Arc Raiders or Escape from Tarkov?
Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders.
Escape from Dukov.
Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption?
Red Dead.
Red Dead Redemption.
Nah, Red Dead dong.
Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption Arthur.
Red Dead.
Elden Ring or Sekiro?
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
I haven't played Sekiro, but I'm gonna go Elden Ring.
Both.
Dark Souls or Bloodborne?
Dark Souls.
Bloodborne.
Really?
Guys, what should I answer? Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. No, I'm sorry, Bloodborne. Change my mind.
Would you choose which children you love more? Oh.
Arcade shooters or tactical shooters?
Tactical shooters.
Tactical shooters.
Arcade shooters.
What?
Battle Royale or Team Deathmatch?
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale.
Baldur's Gate 3 or Expedition 33?
Expedition.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate. Tuh Walid udah
PG-3.
bilang Baldur's Gate.
Expedition 33.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Witcher 3 or Cyberpunk?
Ya tapi
The Witcher
fokus
3.
banget deh baru
The
skill
Witcher. The greatest game of all time, The Witcher 3.
Yes. Both. Witcher.
Skyrim or Fallout?
Fallout.
Fallout.
Oh my. Fallout.
Fallout.
Ooh. Morrowind. And Fallout New Vegas.
Mass Effect or Dragon Age?
Mass Effect.
Dragon Age.
Bagus
Mass
ya.
Effect.
Mass Effect.
Outworld or Pokemon?
Pokemon dong.
Palworld.
Loh,
Power.
Palworld.
I don't want to get a cease and desist, so I'll say Pokemon.
Power World. Depends. Vaporeon? No, don't put that. Don't put that.
Super Mario or Sonic?
Super Mario.
Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario.
Sonic.
Destiny or Warframe?
Warframe.
Palworld.
Destiny 2.
Warframe.
Diablo or Path of Exile?
Path of Exile.
Diablo.
No, you can do that to me. What the hell? Oh man. Diablo is my childhood. Path of Exile is a lot better now. Ah.
Breath of the Wild or Ocarina of Time?
Breath of the Wild.
Ooh. I have a long story about Ocarina of Time. Pass.
Ocarina of Time.
Roguelikes or Metroidvanias?
Roguelikes.
Roguelites.
Metroidvanias.
I love both. Roguelike? Metroidvanias? Castlevania.
Achievement hunting or multiple playthroughs?
Multiple playthroughs.
Multiple playthroughs?
Achievement hunting.
People who only play games for achievements are so low on my totem pole. What was this? Sorry.
Achievement hunting or multiple playthroughs?
Multiple playthroughs.
All right, you're good.
Sorry.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a fantastic fantasy RPG.
Old school RuneScape is the greatest game of all time.
Lies of P is a better video game than Bloodborne.
The RPG category is so broad to the point that it's meaningless.
Mouse and keyboard is easier to be good at than controller.
The Horizon franchise is very mid.
A battle royale would not have saved Halo Infinite.
A battle royale would have saved Halo Infinite.
Multiplayer games are held to lower standards because everything you do with your friends is fun by default.
If most of our favorite games launched today, people would call them bad.
Hideo Kojima writes dialogue like an alien trying to convince everyone else he's a person, and it's bad.
Early access is good for video games.
Arkham Origins has the best written story in the Arkham series.
5 menit lagi
Nintendo is
lagi.
held to different standards
Oh, tadi
than
mau
other
main
companies.
Marathon
Cheat
is a
code
more
padahal.
fun game than Arc Raiders.
Ini diulang
PC or
lagi.
console?
PC.
PC.
Ntar aku
PC.
Console.
PlayStation
hidup
or
ya, apa
Xbox?
ada reset season.
PlayStation.
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 5 menit
Your
lagi.
mom.
Mouse and keyboard
5 menit lagi. Santai. Santai. Ping. Do not carry on. Oh iya, ada anomali man. Ntar nih, 3 menit lagi ya, kayaknya bisa deh. Kayaknya bisa nih. Kita jalanin misi bentar. Oke, itu di luar. Banyak banget banditnya sih. Dua menit lagi. Santai. Tuh, lama nih. Udah rasa soal. Saya. Satu misi lagi. Tenang, semenit. Dua puluh lima tik 20 19. Oke, kita selesai. Save, kita keluar. Aku mau keluarin ini. Trailer lagi deh. Belum mulai kah eventnya? Udah nih. Barusan nih. Clear. Ini game-game yang mau ditunjukin. 45 game. Di trailernya kalau nggak salah ini 40-an gitu yang ditunjukin. Jadi ada beberapa game yang masih belum ditunjukin, makanya eksklusif gitu ya. Jangan berharap game AAA gitu nggak. Mungkin ya game AA dan game-game yang lain gitu. Game indie yang lain. Don Walker. Kapan sih keluar nih Don Walker? Bagus kayaknya. Oh, itu dinosaurus yang gelut-gelut itu. Itu udah dari lama banget loh. Ya aku lihat itu kayaknya awal-awal pandemi gitu ada. Nah, sekarang masih di develop. Itu aku lihat kayak masih prototype early-nya gimana gitu. Di share di grup-grup dunia. Keren banget ini. Itu kayak ada Zoro gitu. Ada 3 pedang padahal karakternya
Welcome to the New Game Plus Game Showcase, a new initiative built by creators who love games for what they are and not just the games that pay to have them promoted. First up, I'm Hunter. I'm normally behind the camera across gaming and esports events, and I work on social accounts for a ton of different games. My favorite games of all time would probably be RuneScape, Dark Souls 3, Leaf Green, Black Ops 2, and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Then we have Jake Lucky, kind of the point where gaming, esports, and streamers collide. If you look at him for too long, you'll start to wonder why his neck is so long, and if you look at his Twitter for too long, you'll wonder how much Nadeshot paid him to tweet clips of him every single day. His favorite games of all time are RuneScape, Age of Empires 2, Halo Infinite, Jumpstart Adventures with Bodley, and CSGO. Next up, Luality. A streamer with a hatred of spoons and a love for dragon sex, Lua probably has more personality than the rest of us in her pinky. Her favorite games include Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, XCOM 2, Witcher 3, and Mass Effect. Then, Luke Stevens, the mind of a critic with the heart of a fan. Luke breaks down games to their DNA and really looks at everything a game has to offer. Where our brains might be smooth, his is nice and wrinkled. His favorite games of all time are Elden Ring, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Last of Us, Witcher 3, and Batman Arkham City. The fifth and final in-person member this year is I Am Rob. Rob came from the hell of making Call of Duty videos to the other hell of platinuming games. His favorite games of all time are Witcher 3, Halo 3, Batman Arkham City.
Lah, kok nge-lag? Kok nge-lag? Ini streamingku jalan mulus ya. Internetku nggak masalah ya.
X-Men Legends and Call of Duty Modern
Kayak
Warfare 2.
ini YouTube-nya nggak sih?
Not to be confused with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
Ini YouTube kayaknya
or Call of Duty Modern
beberapa
Warfare
hari
2
gitu,
Remastered.
beberapa hari belakangan sering nge-lag tuh. Tuh. Tadi waktu kemarinan aku ngedit video juga kayak gini waktu ngambil source yang lain gitu. Nge-lag anjir. Ini
Then our
YouTube-nya ya.
final member is Blue Thunder, the man who is always spotlighting the next hidden gem before
Kayaknya
anyone
kita
else
harus
sees it
pindah
coming.
stream deh.
He just had a beautiful second child that
Witcher
luckily
3
takes
terus
after
ya.
his
Witcher
wife,
3
so
mau
he's not here
dapetin
in person,
DLC
but was
katanya.
a major part of the
Buat
showcase. His
buat
favorite games of all
bridging
time are
ke
Resident Evil
Witcher
2,
4
Silent
gitu.
Hill 2, Elden Ring, The Last of
Jadi
Us,
sebelum
and
Witcher
Metal
4
Gear
mereka
Solid
ngasih
2.
Witcher 3 buat
Together we're pressing how we think game
kesananya.
showcases should feel. Conversational, authentic,
Wah,
and
mungkin aku
transparent.
harus ke
We are here to celebrate
Twitch-nya ya.
what actually excites us. Incredible
like
worlds,
it.
creative devs, and stories behind those games that we love so much.
There's no paid placements, no marketing scripts, just pure passion and excitement for what's coming up in gaming.
You can expect a wide range of content, including new trailers, fresh gameplay,
Alright, guys, so-
developer interviews, behind-the-scenes content, and even some updates
From
to your favorite
Owlcat,
games.
we have Deep
So
Dish
sit back,
Dungeon, grab your drink of
People,
choice, and let's dive into some of the games that we think are worth your attention. This is the New Game Plus Game Showcase.
Yeah, also, who picked the name?
New Game.
It's a work in progress.
Wait, what's the name of
New
it?
Game Plus shows the
New
showcase.
plus a
of-
game plus a
agak
showcase.
telat ya, mantap. Di
We
Twitch-nya,
have cups.
We
That's
already
most of it.
got the cup.
di Twitch-nya lumayan.
Yeah, the cups
Kita
are
masih
coming.
ketinggalan dulu nih.
Our losses.
Director.
Oke. Balik ke Twitch aja ya. Mau reveal Witcher 3 DLC kah? Rumor-rumornya mau ada DLC. Iya, nggak tahu sih, kalau di sini nggak tahu ya. Di reveal apa enggak? Kayaknya enggak sih, di trailer nggak disebutin juga Witcher. Cuman adanya Dawn Walker. Di posternya juga nggak ada CD Projekt Red gitu. Jadi kayaknya enggak. Masih rumor tuh ya. Oh ini. Indonesia. Kita lihat lewat Twitch. Ini beneran game indie nih. Kayak model Minecraft. Oh, co-op ya? Co-op puzzle. Deep Dish Dungeon. Oke. Terus 2 orang nih, mirip kayak di teks tuh. Ini Dawn Walker. Ini nih keren nih. Buset, nih kalau rilisnya apaan sih ini
A
rilisnya?
Dawnwalker is like
Uh.
a special kind of being in our IP. It's neither fully a vampire nor a human. It's something in between. What this means is basically that you, as a Dawnwalker, you have underwent a transformation. You used to be human. And now, during the nighttime, you do get
26
all
ya.
the powers and the difficulties of being a vampire. So you get the blood craving and so
Ini
on.
rilisnya
But during
2026
daytime,
cuman
these
nggak
powers
ada
are
tanggal
dormant,
pastinya gitu.
and you still have to eat. You have all the weaknesses of a human, right? But
Kalau
also the
misal
perks of being
rilisnya
human. One
sama
of the
kayak
things that is unique to humans in
kayak
our
Hexe
IP
mungkin,
is being
waduh
able
itu
to use
duel
magic,
banget nih.
so casting spells. The Dawnwalkers are not very commonplace in that IP. They are very, very rare, rarer than
Dan
vampires.
Walker menarik
So you as a
sistemnya ya.
Dawnwalker are kind of special in this regard. I would say the short-term things.
Dia punya
kind
dua
of
mode
immediate
gitu loh, mode
effects
siang
as
sama mode
development
malam.
are,
Mode vampir sama
you have
mode
to feed on,
night yang biasa.
either animals or humans on blood suddenly, right? So you get these cravings, you get these like weird, eerie experiences that you didn't have as a human. Brancis and his clique of vampires actually caught him on his low point when he was vulnerable. He has used specific traits of vampiric blood in order to cement his position in the valley. Because, you know, as you might imagine, having a bloodsucker as your lord might be a tough sell. However, if the
bisa ngilang gitu.
alternative is getting sick and, you know, dying in thousands,
Dia ngerasa The Witcher banget ya.
actually it doesn't sound as such a horrible thing. He tries to kind of distort the religious beliefs in order to install himself as a savior of the valley. We do explore this in the game, so you might see, like, for example, statues erected to Brancis, new iconography shown in the local cathedral, for example, and in the castle and so on. There is this whole cult of personality he builds around himself. So he basically shows himself as something better than the old order, right? We do have a mechanic tied to shrines that are erected across the valley, and Brancis puts a lot of attention to kind of twist them to his own image. And these do have a functionality. When you play the game, we have assigned specific functions to them. Generally speaking, one of the things we wanted to achieve in this game is to have Brancis being this active antagonist. You know, in a lot of games, the antagonists are out there to be defeated, but generally speaking, you have free reign. You do your own thing, and it doesn't really, change much in how they approach you.
Infonya beberapa developernya ada bawaan dari CDPR Project. Iya emang. Jadi dari game dari CDPR Project mereka bikin
It's kind of like his seal of approval.
Exactly. So it's like
ya mirip kayak Sunfall interaktif lah. Nah, ini tuh mirip kayak Sunfall interaktif. Mereka dari Ubisoft bikin sendiri gitu. Nah, ini dari CDPR Project bikin sendiri.
So for example, he might send out more soldiers to patrol roads and villages, right? He might in some extreme cases, maybe even initiate a lockdown of the city to basically hamper your
mungkin
ways
bisa
of
dibilang
traversing it, right?
double A juga sih.
These edicts we have prepared, and
Apa triple A ya? Kayaknya double A sih.
Change the general open world gameplay. It also has benefits. There are factions in the
banyak banget loh, kayaknya triple A.
So the more notoriety you gain, you know, the better standing with them you get. Like they actually like that. There is a number of
ditampilin tuh
that you can follow if you want. You can also cut them off because we have added these systems where, for example, you might lose control over Cohen when he's a vampire if he was hungry. You might kill off some important NPCs, and then the plot line just cuts off basically, or you get some alternative version. There are some ways to enter the castle in the open world. You can ignore these side plot lines. You can level up Cohen and decide to attack the castle on your own, right?
Out of curiosity, is there romance in the game?
Romance, yes, of course. We have romance options, yes. We didn't delve deep into like with whom yet.
Nggak, bukan quadruple A, man. Ini bukan sekelasnya Ubisoft.
The future to talk about.
Terlalu lebay itu emang
Ubisoft. Build relationships with characters. Like I said, there is like one main goal, very varying ways to get to it. These different ways that you pick will impact, you know, what happens with Veil Sanctora.
Tekniknya itu loh beneran kayak
It's all up to you.
teknik pedang beneran loh, gini-gini tuh. Ada namanya tuh. Lupa aku namanya.
First one, Blind Descent, Martian, Survival, Co-op,
Oke,
Adventure.
itu yang menarik.
gives me Subnautica vibes, and in the best way possible. I really like it, but like more with land exploration, which is really cool. I honestly can't wait to try it.
We're also going to see a lot of survival games today. So I think it all comes down to what the ultimate depth of the
Survival.
game is.
I don't like it.
But my first thought when I saw Martian land was No Man's Sky. That's obviously like maybe a reach for expectation wise, and definitely a tall task. But when I heard Martian, I thought No Man's Sky-esque.
Like you said, a lot of survival games.
Oh,
But
No
I think
Man's
it's
Sky is.
popular right now, and I'm hopeful that a lot of them do it right. But this is like going underneath Mars and has aliens. It looks interesting. I like it.
I'm intrigued about
Oh, come on.
the variety of ecosystems and aliens and plants that they bring up.
Well, like you said, it's popular right now because people like them. And so they share a lot of things mechanically, but for me, it's usually the vibe. And this one has a vibe.
Yeah, it's a good vibe.
That's why I wonder how that gameplay loop goes. Like, how far down can you go? What kind of biomes are you experiencing as you continue to go down? And like you said, with survivals, as you continue to go down, and like you said, with survivals, we see like a lot of the same loops. So how
Telat
can
bang,
they?
udah adakah info
trees you
Assassin's
can
Creed
cut?
terbaru?
Yeah,
Belum,
again, we're
belum
gonna talk about it a
ada.
lot, but if you can
Ini
cut a
cuman
tree down, I'm good for
event
surviving.
kecil ya.
I'm like
Gak ada,
I'm the target.
gak ada
I'm the
Assassin's
target
Creed,
audience.
Assassin's Creed. No
Then we
Man's
have
Sky
Division,
awalnya
Siege
dibenci,
Dungeon,
sekarang
Co-op
dipuja
dungeon
karena
crawling,
devnya.
a survival game, handcrafted
Ya,
dungeon.
karena
gather
update-update terus
resources,
ya.
cook to strengthen your party. You can party up with
Udah
friends.
dibenerin gitu.
I'm excited.
Dulu emang
Speaking of vibes, this
ngejanjiin
thing is a
terlalu muluk.
vibe. Like, I don't know what you'd call that art style, but whatever it is, like injected into my
Kind of
veins.
retro, right?
It's like pixel art, but then they also have like some voxel type tech for digging and breaking things. I don't know, whatever it is, I like
What's
it.
voxel type tech?
Oh, yang
Okay,
No
so
Man's
when
Sky
you said
itu tadi
voxel-
yang di awal ya.
That's big word count number 1 of the day. When I see that, I'm very basic. I'm like, that's got to be some form of pixel art, which is definitely coming back. I feel like we're seeing more games kind of pull back that old view, that old like Minecraft pixel art, whatever you want to call it, voxel view.
I will be honest with you guys. While you guys are talking about pixels, I'm thinking I hope I can kill my teammates in funny ways. So sure, we'll go with the pixels.
Yeah, we were watching the trailer together, and the first thing she was saying was like, "Hey, how do I kill those I'm with?"
I mean, I have to imagine it's a dungeon crawling game about cooking in the dungeon. Surely you're gonna be able to accidentally poison yourselves.
Do you think you can get like bad ingredients on purpose to murder your?
I bet you
Oh
are
my
gonna have to,
gosh.
I bet you're gonna have to
Why
find
are you
out.
going there?
So I wonder though, with it being like in dungeons,
Quality itu
like, if they're
terlalu
gonna have
out of the
an
box
in-game
gitu ya.
proximity chat kind of thing.
I hope
It's
so.
one of my
Padahal
favorite
game
things in games
co-op
like this
mau
when you're like
killing
walking through and you can
temennya
hear your
sendiri,
friend off
gimana
in the distance,
caranya?
they'll do some like
The Lethal Company
Yeah.
effects where they're like,
It looks
Especially
like
you
a
can
game
hear them
that's meant to be
screaming.
Like
enjoyed
screaming
with
right now.
friends, for sure.
Yeah, like at
Me
least
and Jake gonna be in there dishing in that dungeon.
like at least a co-op. He's across the world. I'm like, Rob, you there?
I'm dishing, baby. I'm dishing.
I'm dishing.
making
Can you bring the carrot?
What are you making?
Lasagna.
Yeah, no, but it looks very promising though.
Next up, we have Dawn Walker. Lua had a crazy conversation with her creative director. Single player, vampire, RPG. It looks incredible. I think the 30-day system is awesome and, like you said, gives weight to things. And then the whole, like, there's so many decisions you can make.
What I find really interesting about the game is that Cohen, the protagonist, is half vampire, half man. And even though like all of that sounds great by itself, there's even another layer where at night, of course, he can use vampiric abilities that he doesn't get to use during the daytime. His combat's different. He's not using a sword, he's using claws. And then in the daytime, of course, there's NPCs walking around and there's, you know, maybe patrols going around that aren't there at night, but then there's different ones at night. So
And you can use magic as human. You can use magic as a vampire.
Yes, and basically what they're trying to do is to not just have the time be an element of certain actions to take it forward, but also whether you're playing in day or night, quest lines play out completely
Yes.
differently because people are in different spots, their behaviors are different. This person may be asleep, so you can't talk to them,
Have
but
different
somebody else is
abilities.
there. Exactly.
Well, The Witcher 3 is my personal favorite game of all time. So, and this is former Witcher 3 developers working on this, and so much of that charm was prevalent there.
The music.
The music, just that soundtrack in the short little snippet we saw there, I felt it.
I love that simple separation between day and night and different things coming with your character.
That's got to be like the coolest part of it.
Yeah, because it's
Biasanya
got to
info
probably
Assassin's
tailor to your
Creed baru
gameplay.
kapan
Like, I got a
Bang?
way
Ini
to make this
menurut
choice
Tom
during the
Henderson,
nighttime versus during the
tunggu
daytime.
aja
where I'm gonna
di
use certain abilities
akhir
or different comment
Januari
styles.
ya
I
kalau
love
nggak salah itu.
And so I could foresee a
Mungkin nanti
run
ada
through, like a,
info
play
terbaru.
style where you're
Dan
playing
sekarang
only
udah
at
ada
night permissions,
domainnya
you're just doing
Assassin's
stealthy
Creed Racing
vampire
loh.
stuff,
Racing
and
udah
you're eating people or drinking blood rather than
didaftarin
people
doang
out
tapi
and run away.
belum ada
But,
kontennya.
you know, the dark run through versus like the light run through in the daytime, the vegan run through. The vegan run through. Which has one of those vegan
sped run, Don Walker.
yeah, vegan achievements.
Sponsored by Beyond Meat. The fact that they revealed a little bit about more Brensis the Overlord is also a system. He really talked a lot about systems that they have not spoke on yet at all, and didn't with us either.
Like the edicts. As you go around the world trying to find your information, you can side with different people, and depending on what you do, you can make the Brensis quite upset. So he can start making laws and rules to stop you from progressing in a certain way.
I also like that Brensis as an antagonist is not just like pure evil, doing all sorts of horrible stuff. Like he is helping the people in some ways in order to, you know, get control of them, but he's like curing them of the plague. Like he offers them something they aren't getting elsewhere. So he's doing bad stuff, but there's nuance.
And that typically makes for really, really good stories.
Harder choices to be made,
perspective, and never a clear-cut good or bad.
Yeah, because I bet you there's gonna be a moment where it's
It's
like
one
you
of
could
the
stop it,
charms.
like his influence in an area. That means they're gonna die of the plague. So it's like, do you let the bad guy do the thing that you're trying to stop him to do, or?
And it's also about perspective. These people were ruled by a very tyrannical leader before. So even though Brent is a vampire to them, he
Maybe
may as
it's
well
worth it.
be a savior, right?
Iya, bikin vampirnya jadi
For the next
gede.
section, we have 3, again, I'm gonna have to not say incredible games every single time, but we have Prologue, Go Way Back from Player Unknown, Beautiful Light from Deep Worlds, and Project Shadowglass from Starhelm Studios.
It's just an infinite map
Wait.
generator with some game loops on top of it. So you have a survival loop, which is pretty hard. Get to the weather tower, we give you a map and a compass and not much else. Some basic survival
Survival,
mechanics, and it's a game against yourself more than anything else and kind of the decisions you make. Then we also have just objective survive, which is just see how long you can last in the world, and free roam for those that just like a hike. The differentiator, or the thing that makes a difference, is that we can generate essentially infinite maps of 8x8 scale. Like we have a map editor in the game and stuff like that, but we want to be able to give you the ability to give a deep link to someone. So I can just send you like a HTTP link that starts up the game, loads a map and a
Suara apa itu?
and share stuff
Benerin
I've built
mic
with you
tadi.
with just a link, right? So it's kind of, Go Way Back is just, it's a technological experiment that, or proving some technology we've developed. It's no longer an experiment, it's in production, so it works. But it's also going back to my love of survival games and those kind of emergent, just, I'm
Ini
not giving
survival
anyone
apa
missions to
misteri
do,
ya?
it's
Kayaknya
just get
keduanya.
there, and how you get there is fully up to you. Basically, if you play the same seed, you get the same weather, I'm pretty sure you get the same cabin layout, and you maybe get the same loot. So you and 4 friends could technically race to the weather tower and see who gets there first, because you have the same conditions. And while we don't have multiplayer yet, you have this kind of asynchronous multiplayer that, as long as you can share the seed with people. And I thought, wouldn't that be a cool thing for events where you have 16 streamers and see how long they can survive in objective survive mode, right? Or see who can race to the weather tower quickest, or we can set up the weather just to get progressively colder and see who lasts the longest. There's a weather tower on top of one of the higher points on the map. It's generally the other side of the map. We do have prompts
Kata
now
aku
that tell you
sama
what to do in the
Assassin's
world. But yeah, there's some simple
remake
survival
Assassin's
mechanics.
Black Flag.
Keep
Takut
yourself
banget kalau
warm, keep
nambahin
yourself
agenda.
dry, light
Yang nggak
fires
perlu
board
kayak
up
game.
windows,
Gamenya
keep your
Sony.
body in a good temperature, get across the
Gamenya
map.
Sony
And
yang
it'll
mana
tell you
nih?
where you are on the map, except when you
Kalau
find a new map in the
agenda
world,
sih,
and it updates your position.
ada nggak ya?
Basic navigation. It's kind of set in the 80s.
Nggak tahu ya kayaknya.
You don't have digital
Kayaknya
GPS
cerita
right
Black
now.
Flag
I
gak
wanna
ada
make sure that the worlds we're
itu-itunya deh.
generating have enough depth that when we add story
Tambahan
and
kontennya
mission and
cuman
quest-based
3 jam doang
content,
loh.
that the worlds feel
Nggak
like
segitu-gitu
coherent and
banget.
real enough
Yang
to make
bikin itu
sense.
Singapura,
Like, I
men.
want to have
Singapura
pathing. I
kayaknya
want to have,
Asian
like,
value-nya
structure,
terlalu
like,
kuat
tell us
untuk
why
menambah
this kind of
menambah
stuff.
kobokannya.
So the cabins aren't just random
Oke,
cabins in
jadi
the forest.
nggak
But
perlu
there seems to
khawatir
be some,
mengenai itu.
like, you know, logical placement of stuff in the world. And once we have those in, then we can
Udah
more
aman tuh
easily
jejak
know, well, okay,
rapi.
you need to
Ya,
connect
itu mungkin
all
misteri yang mau
the
di-solve di sini ya.
substations to bring power to the weather tower so you can get a message or go and do various things.
Mereka
Right now,
berusaha
there's a
selamat
bunch of
dari
cannons and there's
cuaca
survival
ekstrim.
mechanics, but we want to add a lot more depth to the
Karakter yang di remake jadi jelek kayak Horizon, karakter macho
of
di
the engine
game
we're building,
bakal
and that's what preface
yang
is.
bakal
The kind of
keluar.
poetic thing is that my last game will be preface.
Di
Because it'll just be a
tergantung
visualization of what's
developernya
possible
sih.
with our engine at that time. And
Ya
it's more
nggak tahu
like
sih,
Minecraft survival, that it's an example of what you can do with the engine,
masih
and
belum
it'll be open source
diliatin
and free for
apapun loh.
everyone, so you can do whatever you want. So having this kind of digital space,
Ya
like an
menurutku
internet in 3D,
nggak mungkin
I
kayak
don't see
gitu
anyone
sih.
working towards that. I see small
Desain
bubbles, but I
karakternya
don't see anyone really trying to do
Assassin's
for a scale
Creed
to
tuh
relate with
nggak
billions
pernah
of people.
dijelekin,
And
men.
that's kind of the bigger
Sekarang
goal,
gua tanya,
and that's why we've broken it down into
Assassin's
two
Creed
games.
mana
Game
yang
is that you should be
karakternya
able to do
dijelekin?
anything from 10 by 10 to 100 by 100,
Iya udah,
5v5 or 100v100.
di Assassin's Creed Shadows pun ya yang katanya WoW Nawe cantik anjir. Si Yasuke juga nggak dibikin jadi jelek gitu. Yasuke tetap ganteng anjir. Gitu loh. Yang mana yang dijelekin? Kayaknya kalau karakter dijelekin nggak deh. Karakter ceweknya maco botak. Itu kan ini siapa tuh Intergalactic anjir, beda developer. Beda developer. Intergalactic tuh. Siapa tuh developernya, Naughty Dog atau iya Naughty Dog ya? Nggak masuk skopnya Ubisoft. Ubisoft itu worknya lebih ke action sih, bukan masalah ininya 3D-nya. Mereka tetap suka yang cantik, yang ganteng. Game horror. Oh, ada Banaspati tadi. Banaspati. Booknya lebih ke gender. Iya, lebih ke mungkin kayak disisipin lore-lore gitu loh. Kalian tahu nggak kalau Assassin's Creed Syndicate itu sebenarnya ada dalam tanda kutip transgen. Ya, mungkin beberapa yang nggak tahu ya, karena ya emang sebenarnya dari dulu gitu Ubisoft itu udah masukin itu di terutama buat Quebec ya. Kalau Montreal kayaknya nggak segitunya deh. Tapi Quebec ngasih itu, ada di Syndicate itu karakter yang sebenarnya dia cewek, cuman perilakunya lebih ke cowok gitu loh. Emang pengen diakui sebagai cowok. Beda halnya kayak ini ya Mary Read ya. Kalau Mary Read kan buat penyamaran gitu. Tapi ini enggak, emang pengen yang jadi cowok aja dia. Ever cewek apa tuh? Cewek kurang menurut gua bang. Ever sih. Ya, lu mau gimana nying? Viking cok, Viking gitu. Lu mau Viking feminim? Fuck man. Udah kayak apa ya? Lainnya udah bener loh. Lo gimana lagi jur? Lucu, Viking masa feminim? Viking tuh kasar gitu. Masa melambai? Gak jadi Viking dong. Push and arrow. Ini game-game pixel art nih makin banyak ya. Video glass. Okay.
If you have headphones, I would highly suggest wearing.
Ini cuman
All the
orang
audio
doang nih
in Project
yang
Shadow
bikin.
Glass is going to be 3D, and not just 3D, but simulated. The music emanating from this orb is going into the left ear and the right ear, but as I change the size of the space,
Ini kayak sandbox ya.
you can hear the character of the sounds change.
Makanya Ever milih lebih ke cowok, keinget Ragnar. Ya gitu ya.
If we go around the wall,
Emang lebih oke cowok.
we can still hear
Voice
it coming from
actornya
the
juga
opening.
gitu.
In
Trailer
E4,
pertamanya pun cowok aja, bukan cewek. Ya keputusan ngambil cewek itu mungkin karena pengaruh-pengaruh yang lain juga gitu. Tapi tetap diusahakan tetap inline sama settingnya.
I actually launched the Shadowglass Discord today, so if you have any ideas or suggestions or just want to follow along, feel
Ini
free to
cuma
wait for us to
development.
Project Shadowglass on Steam. I hope you
Oh,
enjoyed this
belum
sneak peek on
rilis.
how things are coming along.
Jadi kayak
Thank you so much,
menurutku
all of
mentah
the
banget
crew
ini ya.
at New Game Plus for having me. Be well, my friends.
Demo 2026. I still don't get it, man.
To start with, Prologue, Go Way Back, another survival game that we're seeing, and we were talking, it's a bare bones survival game where there is no common enemy. Your enemy is the elements, where you just have to try and survive and make it to that point. So if you guys don't know Brendan Green, he
Spartan
not only
tapi
was
masih
behind the
cantik.
Battle Royale mode of H1Z1, which we talked a long time about, he was also the creator of PUBG. So people have a lot of faith in him and what he calls his 10-year plan. And he talks about
Jadi
his ultimate goal being he wants a
A4
million
yang
players
male itu
on a server. He
A4 yang
wants the
female itu
internet to
kurang
be made
cantik gitu ya.
3D, and for all of us to actually
Yeah.
truly be able to play together, which I know is
I
a
mean-
crazy transition
I
from
mean,
us talking about a survival
A
game.
single player
Female
survival game?
A4 itu nggak terlalu jelek loh, nggak kayak di Intergalactic loh. Paham nggak maksudku? Ya meskipun nggak secantik Cassandra gitu, tapi seenggaknya kan lebih enak dilihat
Also story,
daripada
he mentioned
daripada
they will be adding
Intergalactic
also a
mungkin.
story to the
Things to
world.
do, yeah.
Yes.
That's got to be like the most
RTO kah?
ambitious, one of the
RTO
most ambitious
apanya?
projects
Enggak
out
dong.
there right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh.
it's crazy
What's
to
so
think
funny
about.
about
Aman di
he's like,
sini
I
aman.
want like millions of players to be playing together on like a gigantic map, but you know, not to undersell it.
Shoot for the stars, brother. Shoot for the stars.
No one's done that yet. Next game we talked about was Beautiful Light by Deep Worlds SA. That's a PvPvE tactical extraction shooter. There are 6 3-person squads, and there's also a lot of anomalies and monsters and stuff that we saw in it. Looks like I'm gonna be scared.
It looks very scary.
I mean, I appreciated that it was very immersive. Like he had
Yes.
the sort of Pip-Boy looking thing over there.
Yeah.
Mau
Speaking
lihat
of big
chatnya sih.
words, I actually looked up what that's called. It's called diegetic UI.
Skip ad. Skip ad.
Thinking the same.
Bentar, chatnya juga kayak
It's really, really
apa
cool
sih,
games like this, especially
ngobrol-ngobrol
because
ini
it's
kayak
like hyper immersive. There's no UI
langsung
popping up,
showcase
like,
nama.
"Oh, attack incoming." It's just no, you are in the moment.
Karena tadi
you're in
gamenya
the
nggak
game,
terlalu
listen around you,
wah
look
banget
at
buat
the one
dikomenin ya. Kalau
character
misal
itself. I love
gamenya
that.
So you can
oke
play as
gitu
a
buat
monster
dikomenin,
or
Oh,
as
really?
You can play both.
mungkin
as
mungkin
the-
waktu komenin
So,
ditampilin
is there
kayak
controllers?
trailernya yang mana gitu, lebih oke.
Who Valerie, she just threw up in her mouth.
Stop the yap.
Nothing against controllers, but
Skip
I
this
believe
shit.
there's a right time for mouse and keyboard and a right
Lucu
time
banget.
for keyboards.
Di
And he
chat
believes
disconnect
the right time
tulisannya
for
aman
controllers when
sekarang.
you're playing shooter
Oh
games.
gitu.
It's obviously better. The mouse and keyboard is better for that.
Itu lucu
But
banget
not for
tuh
him.
chatnya, man.
I would edit my own YouTube videos with a controller. if
Yeah,
I
he
could.
said that
That's
earlier.
That's how passionate.
Which
This
is
is so
a
boring.
patently insane thing to say.
Yeah, then we have Project Shadowglass.
Voxel art. I really enjoyed the.
This is Starhelm Studios. It's an
Event
immersive
khusus
sim
game indie sepertinya.
that we've all
Iya,
seen it,
emang.
viral from the
Ini event
that
pertama,
AI poster,
ini
like an AI
event
poster
yang
that looked just
iya
like it,
emang
and he was like, "I'm making a
kecil-kecilan,
game. It's not
gratis
AI."
juga
I
ya ini.
looked up the
Ini
video
event
because
gratis
he
man.
has a
Jadi
YouTube channel
kalau
where
ada
he actually
developer
sings
yang
behind the scenes.
pengen
And when that
nunjukin
clip
karyanya
of the
bisa
AI
daftar
generator
langsung ke
went
sini
viral,
gitu.
He saw it and thought like, I didn't think anybody wanted this. I was just like, it was a fun side project. And then he saw
Skip
people wanted
ad,
it and
skip
thought it looked
ad.
awesome. And he put it out, but it's real.
But we
Di
talked
chatnya
about it earlier.
lucu
There's a
banget.
desire for stuff like that. The more simplicity, kind of.
Nobody cares about this. What the
It
fuck?
feels like the game is still like learning what it wants to be. Like he's working on the graphics, the basics, the music, and as like they have a bow
Must be
and an arrow,
interesting.
and hopefully as they work on the project, they start feeling what it will grow to be, what kind of game it will develop itself into.
Yeah, my understanding is right now it is just
Six so
Project
far
Shadow
aduh langsung
Glass.
dikasih
It's
nilai
gonna
dong.
eventually become like a video game, but right now it's just kind of proof of concept that the art works, the crazy math behind it works, and like it can grow to a game, but it's certainly very, very
Well, I wish him nothing but success.
Yeah, he seems like a
because it seems like I just love
Orang-orang tuh ya yang sebelum stream ini tuh komen
I feel like
apa nih yang baru kayak kayak set bar tuh high gitu loh. Kayak masang standar itu ketinggian. Ini tuh masih awal kan mereka.
You threw that in there, and then of course they got the wall grapple, and then with the whole audio design as well. I mean, I'm deaf.
I remember seeing that clip.
Iya lebih banyak ngobrolnya daripada showing gamenya gitu. Untungnya video ini record bukan live. Iya. Tapi seharusnya kalau ini record gitu kan bisa diedit dan harusnya lebih gitu, lebih mantap gitu. Persiapannya tuh harusnya lebih ada. Oke, nah ini nih baru baru keren ya. Apa nih? Kayaknya ini indie ya.
My name is Amin Bouafa. I'm a film music composer.
Aphelion.
I am the composer for Aphelion, the video game. I remember having a message from Talal saying that he loved the score of Summit of the Gods and they are working in a new video game. And
ini mirip kayak horror thriller gitu ya. Senua, lihatnya mirip kayak Senua, cuman di skin pakai suit astronot gitu.
So how
mirip
to
sih?
compose, how to write music that would be interactive with models, with stems, with separating the different.
Kira-kira Assassin's Creed Mirage masuk tier apa setelah ada DLC yang terbaru? Masuk tier yang oh iya ya, aku belum ngasih itu ya, list gitu ya. Aku dulu ngasih berapa ya? Ingatku paling low ya. Masalah cerita, gameplay kayaknya biasa aja. Kalau setelah DLC Assassin's Creed Mirage bisa di tengah-tengah gitu, bisa B. Bagus.
To feel the cold in the music, to feel the wind, to feel the
game lorong kayak Uncharted. Uncharted tuh game lorong, maksudnya ini apa, maju pukul amat atau gimana tuh?
For me it looks like an alien instrument. When you see it, cannot even
Uncharted kan petualangan tuh.
That it's a musical instrument. To play the instrument you need to get your hands in water. And then rub crystal buttons that are in this.
Aduh, kenapa kok bahas musiknya ya? Ini agak aneh nih. Ini pasti orang-orang
this frozen identity of the score, and the same time having
TikTok kids apa tuh? TikTok kids can sustain video. I don't have stimulus every 3 seconds. Ya. The funny word. What?
There is a sacred feeling also to this planet.
Game lorong bukan open world maksudnya bang. Oh iya. Ini linear sih kayaknya.
The organ has a lot of sounds. It could be very soft. It could be very aggressive. It could be large. It could be intimate. For me, it's the planet. The planet could be very welcoming and suddenly very, how to say, very dangerous. And very sacred.
Grafiknya lumayan loh ini.
So I thought that the organ could give this majestuous feeling to the score. I'm so happy to write the music for Aphelion. It's the first time for me to write a video game score. And it's a lot of fun and a lot of passion.
Tapi game kayak gini nggak mungkin kayak Expedition 33 gitu musiknya. Musiknya lebih ke ambient ya. Kayak kurang grande. Dibandingin sama Leo Start kayak beda banget. Lebih ke Renaissance gitu. Ding 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 orkestra. Ini enggak. Oh, apa nih? Warhammer? Bukan ya? Apa nih? Star Wars. Ini kok langsung bening ya?
We had
Osiris
some
Reborn.
discussions at the early
What the heck
stages
is
of
this?
the production, to be honest, whether to go fully class system or something else. And again, we started with sitting down and lining up possible ways
That's cool.
that the player might perceive the game. The power fantasies, how he can express himself in combat.
Kejauhan bandingin lagunya,
he
Bang.
might want to be a sniper,
Yes.
he might want to
Iya.
be a hacker, maybe an engineer, something else. As we designed those playstyles,
Wait,
we
ini
how to mix it up
lumayan
a
deh.
bit, how to let player to experiment with what he encounters during the game. So, for example, when he finds a
Buset, masa ini indie game sih? Trailernya segini bagusnya loh.
trailer, even if he's a sniper, he might want to experiment with that. Why not?
Siapa
It
studionya nih?
fits the universe, it
Tak
fits
kelihatan
the
tadi.
playstyle. He might want to see how it works, and so we decided why not to give him the possibility to do that. That was the idea behind the playstyle. So playstyle is basically the starting preset that kind of gently guides you towards the certain direction of your power fantasy of how you play the game. At some point, the player will need to commit to his choices. So again, it's important part of
Yang
the
rasanya
choice
kayak
system,
Halo
you
gitu
know.
ya.
If you just can switch everything on the fly,
Buset.
that kind of makes your choices less important. So at some point you need to stick to particular guns, particular gadgets, and you just
Gua masih ragu. Ini
we
beneran
give
game
you some
indie
time
apa
to experiment, but you will need to commit. During the character creation, you will have to choose between three major factions. Your origin, so you'll be either Belter or Earther or Martian. Facial customization, appearance.
Kayaknya
you can
mending ini
choose
daripada
your
Starfield
body
gak sih?
type.
So you will be playing as a pink horse
Starfield.
mercenary with different type of origins that you would create. You will have your
Ada yang main
siblings
Starfield
with
nggak?
the same identical one. They will look a little bit different because they're their own person. They have their own personality. These events are set during the first 3 books, I think. You will start on Eris and witness basically the events from a different angle. And
Ini saingannya Star
this
Wars,
part
man.
will be
Gila, man.
to some degree shown in your character creation.
Every companion should belong somewhere in the universe, and they have their own background, consisting of their faction and their acquaintance. They have some
Mandalorian
background
versi
story,
light
their
nih.
own struggles. All this stuff will influence how they perceive the situations player encounters. So in every major plot event, they will have their opinions. They might hint you towards some decisions. They might provide you
Trailernya
some
menarik
assistance
tapi
or
nggak mau
maybe
ketinggian
even some,
ekspektasinya.
crucial
Iya,
contacts
tadi
to go
tadi itu
for,
trailernya
help
indie-indie
for
yang
advice,
biasa
for
aja gitu loh. Sekarang kita
user
dikasih
support,
yang lebih
maybe. Of course, they
bening.
will have their own,
Jadi aku
stories,
ngerasa
their
kayak,
own struggles, and
wah,
you can choose
overwhelmed.
to help them or maybe to ignore their own stories, totally depending on how you want to be invested in this particular companion. The choices you make for those companions also will matter in long term.
Yep, some of them will have romances, and you can see on our background companions. We
Perfect,
cannot
thank
say which who is going to have romance, but there will definitely
Kayaknya
be
story-nya
romance in our
bercabang
game.
sih ini
It's
nanti.
a small crew on the small ship. You know, the expanse. It's a.
Mereka bisa milih background,
everyone
milih
flies in very tight
companion juga.
spaces for a very long time. So there is a dynamics in the crew as well. We have a few layers of the combat system. First of all, it's obviously the gunplay. a few classes of weapons that you can use, and mostly you do it from the covers, so it's a cover-based gunplay game.
Ini
And the
logatnya
second layer of the
orang
combat
Prancis
system
nggak sih?
is, that's your abilities. That
Atau mungkin aku salah dengar.
might be more like offensive ones, maybe something
Nggak
like a
terlalu
grenade
kental,
or
masa
a
Prancis?
shoulder cannon, or maybe something more defensive like a shield or maybe a protective drone. A lot of gadgets that you can choose from depending on your play style. And as Julia mentioned, there are some play styles that are mostly focused on using your gadgets rather than using your weapons. Third layer, but still very important, that's
Dan aku
obviously
mau
your
searching nih,
companions.
studionya
They
siapa yang
have their
bikin?
impact on the combat. They have what
Expense
we call
Iris
combat
Reborn.
opportunities. That's a particular situations when you can order your companion to use an exploit in the arena, in the environment, to gain a certain advantage in combat. We decided against the management, the gameplay part of the survival stuff. So you won't be counting your gallons of reaction mass or how much water you need to recycle before it dries out, nothing like that. But still, the expanse universe is very dangerous. So in terms of narrative, the survival will be a part of the game. You will have a tremendous enemy. You will have
Owl Cat Game
a
men,
lot of
namanya
very
studionya nih.
dangerous situations,
Owl Cat
that
Games.
you will have to get
Ini
out
baru ya?
somehow. There will be a lot of survival in terms of your player experience, just not as a
Ini baru
particular
loh.
mechanic. You
Owl
will
Cat
be able
Games.
to fly around the solar system. You will be able to visit various planets. We mentioned it before that we have
Oh,
Luna,
Warhammer.
Mars series,
Oh, bukan.
and some
Waduh, aku nggak tahu ternyata.
places to visit. And
Masa Warhammer
some
sih?
of those places will be like major social hubs where you can just walk around, meet other people, drink at the bar, shop for better equipment and stuff like that. So you will have plenty of places to go and to visit and to look at. The Expanse universe is cruel, and some
Oh, yes.
characters might die because of your choices. Stay tuned for more. We will show more very soon. Have something cooking. I hope you will like it.
Keren.
Welcome back, Aaron. We trust your flight was smooth.
Apa nih? Oh, ini beda game ya?
We have landed you on the outskirts of Genyak Island.
Oh, ini yang No Man's Skies like. No Man's Skies.
Hey, Aaron, it's Thomas. You know, your brother. You said you would visit me here, but you never did. Look, bygones be bygones. Just find me in the West Zone. I'll be waiting.
Okay.
Sometimes I dream about what's under the ocean. A distant
Ini
shore
kelihatan banget indie ya.
to be explored.
Kalau ini gua percaya sih. Kayaknya awal tadi studio lama ya. Owl Cat Game. Jarang banget denger Owl Cat Game gitu. Kalian denger nggak sih? Kalian pernah lihat nggak sih? Ini mah Halo apa tuh 4D? Yang mana? Yang game tadi apa game yang ini? Oh, Rusia. Owl Cat Game itu Rusia, men. Ya logatnya ternyata Rusia. Anjir, aku jadi lihat backgroundnya Owl Cat Game anjir. Pathfinder Kingmaker, ada Warhammer 40k, Rogue. Ya lumayan. Tapi kayaknya bukan studio yang gede banget gitu loh, kayak Blizzard kayak apa gitu. NetEase gitu enggak. Itu lumayan lama, 2016 establishnya. Atasan kualitinya keren juga ya. Ini game puzzle ya ini ya. Belum pernah dengar bang. Iya. Ini pengendalian metal latar. Avatar modern. Simulasi jadi Magneto. Iya ya, mirip Magneto ya.
Slipping boats on the faucet, such a peaceful place to be seen.
Ini pos apokalips apa gimana ya? Kayaknya gitu ya, dibikin misterius gitu ya. Lihatnya kok kayak Chernobyl ya. Cuman dengan beda
Let's
tema.
start with Aphelion.
My understanding is it's a dual protagonist game, so you'll actually be swapping back and forth as they sort of work together. And I'm sure there's parts where you're separated, parts where maybe you're together, working together.
Very emotional story.
There's so much
world,
potential for stories like that. The dual protagonists, seeing
feel
it
like-
converge in the end.
You know it's going to be an emotional game, especially when they put so much emphasis in the music. I
Yep.
feel like music is a tool to catalyst emotions, so it's definitely something that
We were actually talking about that earlier today. Music and video,
Emang
and not just
banjir.
video games and art in general and
good
media.
music changes it.
It
I mean,
changes everything.
from a game being a good game to a memorable game, a game that will stick with you in a long time. So.
Well, and Donut has a pretty storied background when it comes to narrative games, whether it's like Life is Strange or like one of my old school favorites, Vampire. Like they try different stuff, weird stuff even sometimes, and so this is exciting to see them doing something
They were
different.
using the super alien music instruments. So.
Yeah. What was it called? Is that
A crystal bachette.
Crystal? But
Oh, you're talking about the hand blending one?
yeah.
You're really into this. That's like the
I
only thing
kind
you
of want
took
to
away.
try it, honestly.
I mean,
How do you discover that technique of like, oh, that makes that, yes, yes.
this
Kita
is
lihat
an
di
award-winning
chatnya, kayaknya
composer
chatnya
of the
juga
Summon of the
heboh.
Gods as well. So what I find super impressive is just
Thanks, Mod.
I feel like people sleep on music so much in games, and then you
Dikira
see
moderator
behind the
ya.
scenes of this entire like they're in a famous church in Paris playing the organ.
Actually has been a blast to see video game music evolve during the years. Like video games has some great music. Like
It's one of those things when it's working, you like a lot of time you don't think about it. When music is really good,
All
in a
you're
game,
thinking
you
about?
don't really think about it. But then when it's exceptional, like an Expedition or like the Witcher vibes, you know, then you really remember it. But a lot of the games you play, you probably don't look up the soundtrack, even though the game is pretty good. You know.
Ironically, my Spotify rap this year was like mostly video game scores. I think
Iya
there's
itu
also
agak aneh loh, karena kan
the
dia yang
developer
nonjolin musiknya
does
ya,
take
tapi
music
kan
very
musiknya
seriously.
di game kayak gitu nggak bisa ditonjolin. Ngapain tadi ditunjukin musik gitu?
Think about it. All the games that have like you think about the games with the
Aneh.
best scores ever, like you just said, The Witcher 3 or whatever. I mean, it correlates to everything else. Every other aspect of the game, they take
Yeah.
it seriously. So.
Another sci-fi game that is
Nah,
probably
ini yang
one of the
bagus.
most anticipated sci-fi games for a very long time is The Expanse: Osiris Reborn, which is from Owlcat as well. It is a third-person action RPG, obviously set in the Expanse universe.
The Expanse is a book
Bang,
and it's a
izin
show,
out dulu ngantuk.
so they're
Sorry,
taking
habis
inspiration
grinding.
from both, but at the same time it doesn't require
Anjir,
previous
grinding.
knowledge of either for you to be able to enjoy this. In this game, you're
Ini
going
perlu
to be
grinding.
living
Aku
more or
nggak
less
main
through
ini
what
ya, jadi
happens
nggak
in the
tahu.
show. However,
Oke,
from a
oke.
different perspective, from a different side, with your own group of people, with your own environment, that you got to make your own choices.
I think an important thing to frame all of the Expanse game with is that coming from Owlcat, they are a studio that did like Rogue Trader, for example. Their bread and butter is intense, gritty narratives with unbelievable levels of roleplay depth and choice and consequence, complex systems that interweave. And so seeing them go into this, which is of course a third-person cover-based shooter with many RPG mechanics, it's a different road. And I asked them about that in our interview and was like, how did this happen? Because typically they do sort of an isometric thing. And they just said when we decided we wanted to tackle the Expanse, it required that cinematic flair, and that's what they tackled. And they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, the game looks beautiful.
It looks very interesting to me. It looks kind of like Dead Space meets Gears of War,
It's
kind of
more like Mass
gameplay-wise.
Effect,
Yeah, Mass Effect as well.
The choice and the reputation you have with your companions will change, because your companions, they told us, will disagree with some of the stuff you do. They'll get upset or
They will have their
pissed
own
about it.
opinions.
They'll have their own opinions, and they also, one interesting tidbit they mentioned was that when you are making choices in the game, they're not necessarily going to tell you if that was a big moment, if that, what you just said to them is going to seriously affect this thing over here. It will, but that's all behind the scenes.
Their game was Distant Shore, Brittany. This is what went viral as almost a portal with magnets. And I think it looks like a lot of fun.
It's such a unique concept. I could see it being big time.
You know,
Like,
it's
really
one of those
is.
games like you didn't know you wanted, but then you see it and you're like, oh, that looks like it
Who
tickles
doesn't
a
like
part of my brain.
magnets?
Yeah.
Like we've seen
very
versions
good.
of it before, but with everything it combines, because it makes everyone think of a different game when you see it. Because we've heard Half-Life, we've heard Portal. I thought of Only Up during some parts of it.
Yeah, it had Only Up.
And other
I thought
puzzle-
Mirror's Edge a little bit with like
Yeah.
the parkouring, wall moving stuff.
See, it makes us think of so many different things at once. So I think it's gonna do.
Just
really well.
watching some of that gameplay, I could see the rage already.
Oh yeah, the boss.
Oh yeah,
Not
that-
happening.
Well, and I think it's also really cool that they have boss mechanics, because like you can tell it started with the idea of using magnets to like manipulate the environment, but then they're like, okay, well, we could raise the stakes, take it up a notch with these boss fights that are organic in the space. And
It
build on
also mixes up because it's not just a puzzle game, so there is more to
Yeah.
it and more that you.
Yeah, there's a world that he even showed as well.
It's more than just a puzzle game. Like there's a narrative behind it.
Exactly. Like they could have just stopped with the puzzle game. I think a lot of people would have been perfectly happy with that. But then they go and build on that with a story, boss fights, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, if it's not just reach a destination or do a final thing, but it's actually a narrative, like you said, that's really cool.
I think it's one to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Next up, we have two very exciting updates coming from Obsidian, that being some updates for Avowed as well as Grounded 2. We also got exclusive time with them and had some interviews, which were very exciting.
Okay.
Avowed is a Obsidian first-person action RPG set in the world of Pillars of Eternity, where the player plays as an envoy sent by the Emperor of Adir to the Living Lands to investigate a mysterious plague that's kind of spreading throughout the lands, causing chaos, and you play as the envoy trying to figure out what's kind of going on down there. Do things that affect it in positive ways, negative ways, or in between type of ways, with that type of choice and consequence. In terms of,
Interesting.
the post-launch things we've been supporting on it, like we've gotten a bunch of abilities added to the ranger and fighter trees to kind of
This
fill it
is
out.
the
There are
awal.
the
Ini
wizardry
orang-orang juga
aspects
nggak
about
ini.
it that are like arachnophobia mode. That was like a big community requested feature, as well as changes to progression, improvements there, gear improvements, and as well as bug fixes and crash fixes.
And you can play now as the different species.
Yeah, we've added different species.
Yeah.
The Amauin, Orlins, and Dwarves are now playable. A lot of our decisions we make are revolving around the player community, so we work really closely with our community management team. We get like a spreadsheet, kind of see what the things that are bubbling to the top. Like an example, like quarterstaff was something where just we wanted to feel like more like a wizard, right? That kind of wizardy vibe, as well as playing as Orlins. Like I think players just were bummed that we didn't include that in the base game. So I mean, it really comes down to like the time and what the community wants, and that's kind of how we decide to go about it. Yeah.
We notice like players really role play their characters in the game. So we always want to give them as many options as we can to like customize their features or character, to kind of have this fantasy in this world as they journey through the story. We just wanted to give them as many possible options as they can to really make the character they want to make, and just make it just their own. Stuff like all the playable races, we discussed it early on and about. It's something to both previous Pillars games had. It's a lot of work and a difficult thing to really nail down, especially in Avowed with its parkour systems and its combat mechanics and all the weapon types and stuff like that in the game. Our different races are different sizes, they're different shapes, they're a very unique game experience when you play as each one of them in a first-person game specifically. So it was something like new to Wrangle for Avowed. We had no time to finish it as we're making Avowed, and now we can give it to the players, so it's a more rounded experience compared to the original Pillars games. It should be a whole new way to play the game. If you pick an Orlin or an Amawa, it makes you feel completely different in the world, especially if you use third person or first person. It changes it again, how you feel and present in this game. So it's pretty awesome that we can finally bring that.
New Game Plus allows the player to bring over all their abilities, all their equipable gear. It does reset it back to level 1, so it's not like you're just outright OP basically, but you'll have the end game gear with all its like enchants to be able to just start the new game, as well as we have like modifiers on enemies that kind of either make them more resistant to some of the elemental types, or modifiers that make them more resistant to being stun locked or hit reacted. And that kind of gets sprinkled in kind of somewhat randomly throughout that New Game Plus experience to kind of get that added challenge, but also let the player still feel somewhat like they're accumulating their abilities over the course of multiple playthroughs. So.
We notice players like to take photos of their envoys, but it's very difficult in the game. You have to get the camera just right to get a certain distance from the character, or capture the shot in a conversation when you see your character. So this allows you to really get into it and capture some awesome shots or some scary shots, depending which way you're going.
We're super excited to announce that Avowed's finally going to come out to PS5. Pre-orders are going to be live today. Keep an eye out on our socials, and we'll announce when the store page is open.
Nah, Grounded 2 nih lumayan nih. Terus gak nih? Unik, konsepnya unik.
Grounded 2 is a survival game. It is set in a gigantic city park. You play as a teenager who has been shrunken to roughly the size of an ant, and you just have to survive in this environment with, insects that are the size of a bus, and figuring out how to eat and get some water and fight those bugs and craft new materials and new weapons. As you go and gain in power and get over those initial survival challenges, you can sort of get into the story of what has really happened in this park. A number of huge updates planned for the park. This is the first big content update that we have. We've been calling it the Winter Update. It's really about adding in this next big chunk to the park, and that comes with a lot of things that are very, very exciting for us. With this Winter Update, which is the community garden, is attached right to that early picnic area. On the map, it's just to the east of it, behind the gigantic statue of Tully and Burgle. This was our opportunity to really start delving into a brand new biome with everything that entailed. You've got a vegetable garden, you've got a greenhouse, and you've got a pumpkin patch. All of these introduce a lot of new and different types of artwork and places for the player to explore. And then, of course, we need all the insects that go in these areas too. And so a ton of new insects that are in there. As I love to say, all of these insects, you can fight. Maybe they're docile and you can attack them. Many of them are aggressive and will attack you. And regardless, you fight them, learn their tactics, and then eventually turn them into fashionable attire and new weapons.
Going to a new biome, a new area in the park, allows us to fully lean into what makes the park unique from the backyard. And for us, that means that mixture of really organic structures as well as that man-made touch, that this was designed by humans at human level.
Wasps are coming back, which are a lot of fun to fight, but can be kind of annoying. Again, this is a survival game, so so excited about those things coming back. Black ants are also coming back too, and like with both of those, you get sets of armor and different weapons that you can craft after you've defeated these creatures. We're more excited about the new creatures that are coming in the Garden update, though. So we developed a brand new creature in the cricket. The cricket is pretty big. Again, this is the size of a large bus, probably. It has some very unique attack combinations that are a lot of fun. It can also, of course, jump very, very far. It has its own armor sets. It has its own weapon or weapons that you can craft based upon it. And then the same thing for earwig. We actually have two different types of earwig. There's sort of a ranged earwig and a melee earwig that tend to travel around together to thwart the player with their strategic opportunities. Again, you can turn those into armor, of course, turn them into your base furnishings. You can turn them into weapons, and we think they'll offer some exciting and unique combat opportunities.
We really want Grounded 1 players to be excited to see these creatures again, but also to be surprised and delighted by the changes. You know, just like we did in the picnic area, we've revamped the combat. So that means even looking at the old legacy creatures and going, okay, how do we make them a part of the system? How do we make them challenging in this new dance? How can we leverage our systems to make them more interesting? And so hopefully there's a couple of twists coming, even with the old favorites, that will keep veteran players on their toes and will surprise and delight new players.
We have a brand new buggy, the Ladybug buggy, which you'll be able to get and raise and hatch and then ride around in the yard. And we're pretty excited about all that stuff. Like, I think all of it is coming together just really well.
I think every single Grounded player from Grounded 1 at some point jumped on the Ladybug and let it transport them around. And we often joke that that was the original buggy prototype. And there's something so iconic about the Ladybug and getting on it and wanting to ride it that it felt like an inevitability for us. But what's important for us whenever we do introduce a new buggy is we don't want it to just be another one or just a horse, you know? And so it really boiled down to what can the Lady Buggy bring to the table that the other ones weren't? What can make her stand apart and bring a utility and an experience to the player that the other buggies aren't? How can we carve out her own little niche in the game? She's the tank. She's, you know, the one who can get into those really tough fights and withstand those large swarms of insects, and that's where the idea of the water cannon on her back.
Konsepnya menarik sih,
cuman players being able to
kenapa aku ngerasa agak bosen ya?
That ended up, you know, providing a ton of gameplay opportunities and a really unique experience. Being able to shoot down the aerial insects that are often a bit more challenging and a bit more frustrating for players. Well, now you have this, you know, ranged weapon that you can take them down with that feels super satisfying, almost like an anti-air gun. For us, as soon as we crack that, it felt like, okay, there she is. That's her niche. And now it's just about bringing that experience to life and finding moments in the garden experience to really highlight that and let that shine for the player.
So we saw Avowed, great interview that you did over there. We see now that we have New Game Plus coming, there's a photo mode, a new weapon type, changing appearance. There's new character presets, you got new races, which
species,
I'm sure, Lua will have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, they're doing a lot. And I mean, the game, of course, launched earlier this year. Obsidian's been very busy, yeah. And they're doing these free updates now. And so they also are adding New Game Plus, which adds a whole new reason for you to go back through the game. So the game is coming to PS5.
Yay! We got another one.
We got it.
The Avowed Platinum Trophy was insane.
Here we go.
Yeah, but it's coming, and it's available for pre-order as of this show going live. So right now, so check it out. And when I talked to them, they were saying how important the community is to them, how they've listened to a lot of their feedback, like adding arachnophobia mode on Grounded.
I was gonna say, Luke, if I'm scared of spiders, what do I do?
Yeah, there's arachnophobia mode. But that's kind of their driving force, is looking at the community, what the community is saying, communicating. They're like, hey, we'd like more species and more customization options in Character Builder. Okay, we'll do that. And it's just really nice to see them do that. They could put it in a paid package, but they're not. They're just, you know, it's a labor of love, and that's...
I really like how, as you're going to New Game Plus, you can also change your character's appearance. So you keep some of your skills and stuff, but if you are tired of how your character looks or you want to do something new, try a different race, you can do that by just going to New Game Plus. You don't need to go back to the beginning.
Besides that, we also had Grounded 2,
which is bringing the Garden of Brook Hollow Park that is now going to be open. So it's a new biome. They have new creatures, new tools, a new mushroom brick material that you can build more stuff with, and also a new ladybug buggy. A ladybuggy.
A lady buggy.
So sweet.
For those of you watching, it's a play on word.
Allow me to explain.
Ladybug E, because you can mount it and ride it like a buggy.
Yeah, and speaking to listening community, they also take a lot of feedback. This is a game that launched back into early access back in July, and so this is a major winter update is what they're calling it, and it was heavily requested to have more types of transport, which they are still planning more for the future that people can be excited about, but they always listen to feedback about, should an insect be an enemy? Should an insect be what they call, is it docile or docile? I'm from Iowa.
Whatever you prefer.
Yeah. Different insects can be friendly, some can be enemies, and then of course they can also treat them now as transport as well.
You looked at Luke when you asked.
Well, I'm not looking at you. And so with this update, they're doing this throughout a lot of the timeline. Like they're gonna give you a lot of these big updates, and you're gonna be kind of surprised of like when it first released early access, there was still plenty to do. It was a survival game, but if you were a fan of Grounded, the original, you knew they were still gonna have a great winter update for you like this. And so they have a lot on their roadmap, but because of the way the game is oddly like scaled down, it's from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, like the way it's shrunk down, they have so much they still want to do and will be doing for a long, long time.
Well, and that cricket.
Yeah, the cricket thing looks
that thing's
terrifying.
horrifying. It turns around and like.
You're like, what's he doing? What's he doing?
Spreading. I gotta give them credit. Like Obsidian's been so crazy busy. Like the fact that you can put out 2 pretty sizable games in 1 year. And a bunch of updates for it.
And it seemed like they were cooking something huge, right? Because
yeah, they just had Tim Kaine come back out of retirement. He's one of the creators of Fallout back in the day, and he
didn't he also was some of the original creators of Vampire Bloodlines?
I think he did.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
He's kind of a legend of the industry. He in 2020 went and started doing consulting work with Obsidian, but he was, in his words, semi-retired. But he's actually gone back to Obsidian to work full-time in office, moved to the studio on some project that's unannounced, and he said, "Don't bother guessing. You will not guess it." So, new IP, something crazy. Who knows? But they are.
Or he's trying to throw us off.
It's hard to not see like hope at least for Fallout stuff because
sambil nulis skrip ya.
the TV show being excellent
Kalau
and
kalian ini,
everyone itching for more Fallout.
kalau
So
kalian curious. Outward for
Next up, we have
second
3 fantasy
Grid.
RPG games that are looking very cool, as I
Oh,
would say.
really?
This is going to be Outward 2 from Night Dot Studio, a follow-up to their other survival game, Outward, obviously. We have Varen's Call by Titan Rock, and then we also have Dragon Twin by Draconic Interactive.
Ya. Sangat-sangat indie.
Outward is an open world RPG, which for once you're not some kind of special superhero or the last child from a prophecy. You're just a dude or a dudette. And the reason why we are downscaling who the player is because they want to be immersed more than they want to be powerful. And that was the big change in our approach. And we made all of our design decisions to be in alignment with this vision. If you were just a regular person and you wanted to think like a human would, but in a fantasy world, it's when you are aloof, when you're just like, that's not so dangerous, I've done it before. And that's when life just snaps back at you, right? In real life, that's like that. It should be like that in the design as well. So one gigantic thing is the character creation. In Outward 1, like, we had very ugly protagonists. And we didn't have a lot of options. You know, you had like 3 skin colors, a handful of faces, a handful of haircuts, and that was it. It feels like really drawing yourself into an RPG. You choose a background, you choose traits, you have a very granular system to modify and customize your character to your liking. One of the big thing is you choose one of 3 starting locations. So as a regular person, what justifies throwing yourself into danger? How do you become an adventurer? Well, we have 3 different quests depending on which city you choose. So if you are in Simeon's Bastion, you are a homeless person, you're desperate. In Tramontane, you are a miner and you're trying to like improve your status and your quality of life. In Haboob, you are just a clerk who just bought a house. What could possibly go wrong? you know, and very mundane situations, like you're not special or anything, but something special happens to you, and then you have to live up to the situation. We want a weather system that is very dynamic. So now we have a year-long calendar with seasons, and you just go through all that. So it's going to be winter, and then it's spring, and then summer, and does change, like what kind of stuff can be found, what kind of armor you need to wear. Dual wielding is gigantic. So now you can combine anything that goes in one hand, and that opens up a lot of possibilities. In Outward 1, like you had your offhand could only have a set amount of things, and you had your main hand. Now you can just interchange. You can have 2 shields if you want. It sucks. I don't recommend, but you can. Of course, like just visually, and the fact that it's much more lush, it's more filled, it's more visually vibrant. That's going to be something that people will notice very quickly. Just like in Outward 1, we have 8 skill trees, and all those skill trees have some exclusive skills. So if you take one, you can't take the other, and you have a maximum of 3 breakthrough points. So there's only 3 skill trees that you can learn from to the maximum of the capabilities. Otherwise, you have like the first few layers of skills available. One thing we added are the attribute points, the core stats. So strength, agility, constitution, willpower, intelligence. We added those. We're gonna track a lot of different things that you do. They're all gonna have like different thresholds. So let's say you dodge attacks successfully a certain number of times, you unlock a note that will give you a passive trait and increase your agility. So very small incremental changes. We start with very simple things, and it expands us in more and more circles. So you won't be able from the very start to unlock all 3 skill trees just because you have the cash to do it. You will have to have experience. You will need to have practiced the life of danger and Ori to be able to understand, like get to the next level of the skill trees. Other than that, well, I think it's important to note that all 4 regions are new regions. So it's really just completely new environment to explore.
Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into our upcoming action RPG, Varen's Call. The world of Leda is entirely shrouded by darkness on one side, while scorched by endless sun on the other. These incredibly hostile areas are known as the Forsaken Realms, which, as you may have noticed, is the name of the universe we are meticulously crafting. Your first steps within the Forsaken Realms will take you to the Vale of Varen, a city on the brink of collapse, and the first of our narrative-focused adventures. You'll step into the boots of a lone mercenary, seeking to answer Varen's call for aid, and maybe earn some gold and glory along the way. It's clear that Varen needs a hero, and every hero needs a way to slay the countless fantastical beasts they'll encounter. Varen's Call aims to cater to a wide range of playstyles, offering you the freedom to combat the unknown in a variety of ways. Whether you prefer to be a nimble-footed archer flinging fireballs between arrows, or face your foes toe-to-toe as an axe-wielding whirlwind of death, the choice is yours. The game's classless system means you're never locked into playing a specific way. You have the ability to adapt, alter, or completely switch playstyles midway through your adventure. Unlock and spend perk points to obtain new skills and abilities, and level up your mercenary's core stats by gaining character experience. Hidden chests throughout the world will reward you with a range of weapons, armor, and unique trinkets, some providing unique effects to help you gain an edge in your next combat encounter. The local hamlet of South Vale acts as a hub, a safe space that provides various amenities for you to further develop your character. Use the forge to upgrade the weapons and armor you find throughout the world, and the dismantling bench to deconstruct items for materials. The spell crafting table can be used to increase the power of your magic. Everything from an area of effect freeze attack that stops the enemy in their tracks, to ripping up the ground from underneath their feet with destructive force. Use the trap making bench to upgrade and unlock new traps and gadgets. A nice complement to your arsenal, allowing you the opportunity to catch your enemies off guard. And finally, the alchemy cauldron. This can be used to custom brew a multitude of mixtures, from replenishing health and restoring stamina to curing yourself of nasty status effects. These concoctions are sure to aid you on your journey. Okay, great. So you've equipped that shiny new helmet, purchased that
slightly overpriced magic spell you always had your eyes on, and upgraded that new Polybuster barrel to the volatile variant that has even more boom. You're ready to get back into the fight, but maybe you want a change of pace. Yes, you're supposed to be the hero and save the city, but heroes need breaks too. Besides, there's a whole world to explore, and quirky characters from all walks of life need your help with their problems.
Then you've come about the job.
You might find yourself involved in a murder mystery, helping a local peacekeeper catch the criminal behind the death of her beloved friend. Or maybe you're on a mission to rid Varin of the Gnomi scourge that plagues the city, all because a crazy guy in an outhouse called you a hero?
I know the truth!
Maybe we should stick to the main task at hand after all. Varen's Call is soon to release on PC with full controller support, with the aim of releasing on consoles at a later date. Our game is inspired by classics like Fable and The Elder Scrolls, so if this sounds like your kind of adventure, consider heading over to Steam and adding it to your wishlist to stay up to date with us. Until then, we'll see you mercenaries soon.
Wait. Dragon Wing. Oke, ini yang mana? Ada simulator. Ini game buat relaksasi ini. Ini nggak tahu objektifnya apa ya. Cuma menarik, cuman nggak tahu objektifnya. Anjir, kustomisasi naga dong. Ini naganya bisa dibikin kayak ini nggak ya? Kayak Squidward nggak ya? Dragon Twin.
First question I had was, how hard is this game going to be? Because the most common question about the original Outward was, okay, this is like, does it have to be so hard?
I actually got to play the game in the alpha version, and I got my ass kicked.
I'm glad.
Deserved.
But it's actually amazing. Like, I actually really enjoyed it because exploring this game felt very rewarding, and there's like a camping system, so you can camp like right outside like the enemy zone, and then you prepare like your weapons and everything to wreck the enemy, because if you don't prepare, oh, you're in trouble.
It's known to be a very, very hardcore survival, and when I was talking to Guillaume, he was like, if you die, it is likely your fault. And we all heard him say, like, it's not hard, but it is demanding, and they always at all times want to live up to those words, which is is really awesome. And they will have a pack mule, which he said, of course, shocker, can die if you don't take care of it.
Of course.
But it's, one of the big struggles was with inventory and spacing along other struggles that players had to really try and, play out this game. Like you were saying earlier, you can't dilly-dally in this game. You have to really know what you're going to do, and eventually you'll get a hang of things. But another big one was dual wielding. So you can dual wield, he says, anything in the game. You can even double shield it up, which he says is not recommended.
You can attack with the shield, it's super close.
He really loves to stress all of these niche things.
There's a lot of
Like you can sprain your ankle, you can
Oh my
perforate a lung.
Trauma.
She has clearly sprained it. You can sprain her.
I also got brain damage.
You can have a concussion. It will all impact you, and all of these ailments take different lengths of time to recover from.
I got a concussion in game as well. It was really tough.
As well.
What were you doing? What were you doing out of game?
It was kind. No, it was just kind of like a play on, because whenever I told people I got a concussion, brain damage in game, a lot of people in my chat would say like in game.
Sounds like the most hardcore of hardcore survivals.
It was really fun, and you can also play with friends, and then things become a lot more bearable.
They've showed the split screen.
Yeah,
and
so
it
you
looks
can play
awesome.
split screen with your friends, and it's really nice. Especially because then, like, you get beaten up, and then your friends get beaten up. So, and then you know.
can get digital concussions together.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Forsaken Realms, Baron's Call. We were all sitting here saying it looks
It looks sick.
Most importantly, controllers. I can play that one.
I was trying to put my finger on what the vibe was, and at the very end of the trailer, they say inspired by games like Fable. They really struck an interesting vibe. It seems like it's got a lot of soul and heart in it.
We talked about music a lot today. I just want to say that was something I noticed right there. That flute, there's something about a flute. When a flute starts playing,
When the
in a
flute
fantasy
started,
game,
yeah,
dude.
When the flute started playing, he was like, "Oh my god,
I'm ready to go to war."
No, the game looks really nice. It looks very well detailed, and I can't wait to try it.
They angled it that hey, you can do this thing. You can really focus on combat and the main quest line, the main story, but this is also an expansive world where there are a bunch of little side stories where you can go to these individual side characters and help them catch their chicken.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
murder mystery or whatever it is. And I feel like that's what builds out a world and makes it feel more full. So I think it looks great. Third, we had Dragon Twin. I don't even know if we're.
Let's ride!
Dude, you can make your own dragon. There's a character creator for your dragon.
Did you see the neck customizer? I mean, Jake was like.
To be fair, is very early in production. They're working on all these systems for Dragon Flight. And
Oh, yeah,
as they
yeah.
mentioned in the trailer, it's still a work in progress. They're finding the game and what it's going to be based on funding, Patreon support, things like that. But I mean, just imagining the vision of a kingdom builder where you're in command of dragons like Khaleesi, inject that into my veins. It's another one of those games I didn't know I needed or wanted, but
Ya menarik nih, orang-orang juga pikir menarik,
you
cuman
see, and you're like, of
masih
course.
early.
Of course I need that.
I can't wait to see how it progresses, because it already looks amazing.
But they left the combat pretty open-ended. We saw some battle scenes, we saw some light with other dragons maybe fighting, and how that's going to come into play, I'm really curious
The
about.
movement, I mean, you're gonna get some battlefield pilots.
The
so cinematic,
The cinematic shots you're going to get with that dragon is going to be crazy.
Next up, we have some exclusive content coming from Munfish, a comparison of the twins from Atomic Heart, now in the cube. A very exciting game I think we're all looking forward to. And for Atomic Heart, some new screenshots from their DLC number 4. On top of that, there is also Immortal Gates of Pyre that we had an incredible interview with that Jake hosted, where we talk a little bit about the making of the game, the people behind it, and RTS in general.
Wait, what the heck is this? Menarik nih. Rusia. Game Soviet nih. Atomic Heart. Oh, DLC. Wah, gak lama. Oh, nggak main Atomic Heart, man. Atau Atomic Heart itu game baru apa lama sih?
Is it
Siapa nih?
recording?
Yeah, it is.
It's in the sky, a giant cube. I can still barely
Ini developer
believe it
Rusia nih
myself.
keren-keren loh. Ini Rubik.
When
Rubik
it
alien.
showed up, I was in the lab. I didn't even see it. You know? I felt that same fear, though. A terrible sense of my own powerlessness. How did the whole of humanity miss it? And did we actually miss it? What if the cube didn't appear, but revealed itself? What if it was always there, and we've only just started to see it?
Oh, ini yang ditampilin di Game Over ya sih? Aku lupa judulnya. Iya ditampilin. Waduh anjing, kenapa kameranya ke sana nih? Lebay banget. The Cube. Oh, Atomic Unit. Oh, itu jadi satu ini ya? Oke. Buset. Atomic Universe, okay.
So Immortal Gates of Pyre is an attempt to modernize and make more accessible the RTS genre while simultaneously keeping all of the complexity and the opportunities for mastery that have made RTS so popular over the years. So it's I would refer to it as a Blizzard style RTS, the fast action, big battles, very tactical, kind of very rapid fire chess. We realized that RTS, in part because it was dominated by a few big players, never really went through the kind of indie transformational experimentation. Some of the companies that tried to do so did so by stripping away features or losing some of the things that really made RTS great. In the early days, we surveyed a lot of players in both MOBA and RTS communities and found that they really loved the fantasy of commanding an army. RTS, at the end of the day, if you were to strip it all away, is just you're commanding an army, another guy's commanding an army in real time.
Yeah.
Right? Because you get individual unit control, it can be very overwhelming. And because you're also building those units, because you're building a base, because you're having to do so much macroing along with the microing simultaneously, that for most players, it just gets overwhelming and complicated. And so we worked through it kind of line by line, trying to figure out what are the rote tasks, what are the things that players are required to do that are not really decisions, that are more just chores, right? And how do we make more and more of the complexity in the game, but optional, opt-in. We refer to it as opt-in complexity. And then simultaneously, how do we create a world and experiences and game modes that people want to be a part of? We want to take this genre and show people this genre isn't dead. People want this fantasy, they want this experience. A lot of it has to do with things like the UI and the UX, the unit design, and a lot of that opt-in complexity. So for example, in most RTSs, you always have to be building workers. If you're not building workers, you're falling behind on your economy and you're screwed. The correct move, with very few exceptions, is to build a worker every chance you get. So we made that automated, but have a toggle. If you want to turn it off, you can. So if you're trying to do a specific timing attack, you can, but we took that complexity away. One of the other things is how in MOBAs you have a unified command card, right? All of the abilities and castable abilities on your hero are easy to reach. You can hit all of those buttons very quickly on one hand. We redesigned the UI UX to be the same way. So you can select your whole army with one button by default, and then all of the abilities, castable abilities of your army are also on that one unified command card. One of the things that people often tell us is that when they watch our game, it looks like an RTS, but when they play it, it almost plays more like a MOBA in terms of how they're commanding their army. Our early idea was if we bring the top, 10 modders within generally the strategy gaming space, if we bring them all together and we say, if we were to come together and build a game that truly is the next generation of RTS, what does it look like? And that's what we set out to do. The 1v1 or 2v2 PvP experiences, they're similar to a StarCraft or a StarCraft 2. Maps, we did redesign the maps and we redesigned the mechanics in a way that 2v2 is actually really, really fun. It's a core support gameplay mode. And players, including pro players, have actually really enjoyed doing 2v2 tournaments. But the ultimate goal is to destroy the enemy's town centers, and so it's kind of a tactical back and forth with counters and strategic snipings and using immortal abilities in clever ways. So it's
Warhammer
great for
Online.
mastery and laddering and skill gain. Ultimately, or at least the goal, is to have other PvP modes that are more casual or more playful, kind of some chaos modes, auto battler modes, things like that, where if you just have 10 minutes and you want to have a beer while doing it, and you want to do something that's a bit strategic, but you don't want to get that sweaty, we want to have those experiences too. That's a big part of the target market that we're looking at, is people that like to be challenged mentally, but don't necessarily want to try to do the crazy APM and don't want to get too invested in the competition. We want to do a full grand campaign. The inspiration for how we kind of want, or how we see the ideal campaign, if we can build it, is very similar to Dark Crusade. It's a grand campaign. You can be kind of any of these different factions and conquering territory and building new and unique stories.
One of the better trailers that I think we all saw back around SGF last
Not
year.
a new trailer that we're showing with this. Of course, the twin comparison is new, which is very cool to see the twins for the first time in this universe, if you like Atomic Heart. But the trailer itself for the Cube, nothing new.
The potential for that game is like unmatched. It is a
They're
crazy
so
concept.
good at cinematics, and also just like the concept of playing a game like that with the map constantly changing, the biomes changing. It like breaks my brain to think about, but in a fun way. I think.
Like different terrains, different weather.
Yeah. They show that sliding clip where she's sliding, and then as the cube is apparently rotating, we don't know how that mechanic even works with the
Well, I'm
map.
assuming you can fall off. Like if you fall
You would
off the
think,
map,
right?
you just that's. I'm sure you're
Or get
dead.
crushed.
And they've taken so many gameplay mechanics already. We saw from that short trailer. You saw wall running. You saw just like traditional gunplay.
The other cool part to me is that it is set in a universe that people have already been a part of. Somehow.
The world of Atomic Heart's very interesting.
Can you explain it a little bit?
It's kind of like it is Soviet Russia in an alternate timeline where they've mastered robotics, but then there's like evil robots.
And in terms of vibe, it's kind of like Soviet Bioshock. And
Yeah,
it's a vibe.
that's a good way to put it.
And what's interesting is that from the original game Atomic Heart, one of the primary things people loved about it were like the boss fights, and then like the outdoor environments and the art direction. And that is just the cube. And then they're adding in this multiplayer component as well with like, it seems like PvE elements with bosses that you'll fight against together as the cube rotates. I can't wait to find out more.
I love how open-ended they are. Munfish is like, we are all curious because we don't know the exact direction they're going and where it could end up. And I was trying to pinpoint like what game I was looking at, because we are gonna flow into Atomic Heart, and I love that tie between those worlds. But I honestly saw a piece of like the finals and the first destructibility and cube movement we saw when the finals first released. There was something about that aesthetic that I also saw, and I was like, okay, now I'm instantly locked back into this.
The DLCs people love. There's already Atomic Heart 1 and 2. This is their fourth and final DLC for Atomic Heart. And when we saw the trailer, we saw the screenshots, it adds new environments and it looks good.
Yeah.
You know? Then the third game on our list with that one was Immortal Gates of Pyre by Sunspear. Jake, you had a great conversation with Ian.
My boy Ian. It's a game that's been in development for a long time. We're going to probably talk about how it's a group of modders, and so they've hired a lot of modders, and they have that DNA for this game and a lot of the concepts they want to plan out for the future. They've had hands on this for almost 10 years, but they've been working hard on it for about 5, is what they would tell you. And they really want to try and combat, as we all know, like the RTS genre is really hard to get into because
high barrier of entry.
I agree, because it's like you see these games, you know RTS games, and you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work on micro, macro, and all those movements per second and whatnot. And they want to try and combat the pillars that have already established themselves in the RTS genre. We know Age of Empires, but we also know StarCraft is the one that people kind of go to. And he was saying they've had these games in the genre that blew up so early on that it's been hard for companies like this to make a new RTS and survive and branch out and be somewhat unique to what we already have kind of attached to.
I do like that they're kind of emphasizing accessibility because I think it is pretty intimidating for new players. That's why a lot of people don't want to, kind of turn off by RTS. It's just so overwhelming to look at.
It's awesome. I'm one of the people who haven't played RTS because I don't want to go against Sweaty Joe, who's been playing this his entire life. I have no.
You live.
Yeah, I don't have any clue how to do it.
I live for micro, macro movements, bro.
And then you can have the sweaty experience if you want, or you can have the experience where you just sit at home and have a beer.
I did when he said that. I was like, that's my guy.
Exactly.
My vibe.
This game was made for.
But I do want to really support him, and when it comes to cracking through whatever the current the current stereotype in that genre is, they're trying to innovate, they're trying to do things differently. And one last thing, they're very, very community focused. So like a lot of the devs we've spoken to, they love their community, they found their diehards, and it really has shaped the project. And so I hope we see it in the near future.
Next up, we have what I'm calling kind of a Western section. We have some new footage from the game X-Killer. That's going to be Paradark Studio. There's Far Far West from Evil Raptor and Erosion from Plot Twist.
Cyberpunk-ish.
Welcome to the world of X-Killer. We are Kasia and Amadeus, the creators of the game.
And this is gameplay overview.
Ini game yang dibikin
X-Killer is a
sama
first-person action-adventure game
dua orang
that
doang ya.
encourages exploration, rewards curiosity.
And never holds your hand.
You play as Denzel Phoenix, an X-Killer, a corporate bounty hunter.
X-Killers hunt down fugitives and reclaim souls from those who try to escape the system.
One of the game's main hubs is the Tower, a massive fortress city ruled by the Helion Corporation. This is where you accept contracts, upgrade your gear, and prepare for missions.
Job well done, contract fulfilled.
The game is structured in chapters, and almost everyone begins and ends in the tower.
Outside the tower lies a harsh, scorched desert. You travel through it in a heavily modified car designed to protect you from extreme conditions such as heat and radiation. Inside the vehicle, you have access to your computer, storage, and a working radio.
From your
Survival is a core part of the experience.
Inventory space is limited, and every item matters, forcing players to make careful decisions about what to carry and what to leave behind.
Helion's high-tech systems allow you to hack devices, pick locks, and access restricted areas.
Your cybernetic implants help you uncover hidden elements and investigate the environment. Missions and level design are fully non-linear. There's no single way to complete a contract. Stealth, dialogue, and combat are all valid approaches and can be freely combined.
In Exekiller, every decision matters.
What's it gonna be? Plata or muerte?
Wishlist Exekiller on Steam.
Hi everyone, Robert here from Fireshine Games. I am the Senior Product Manager for Far Far West, developed by the incredible 6-person team at Evil Raptor. Far Far West is a 1-to-4 player co-op PvE first-person shooter where you play as robot cowboys in a weird western world. Work together to kill bosses, collect bounties, and cleanse the lands of the evil enemy invaders. Today, I'm going to talk you through a short, single-round session of Far Far West. Here, we're exploring the Far Far West hometown, an evolving space where you can upgrade your weapons, spells, and characters.
Ini game menarik loh.
Once the team is geared up and ready to go, we can pick the bounty we want to hunt and drop into the game.
Aku lihatnya kayak Plan vs Zombie Modern Warfare ya. Animasinya cute ya.
Now that we have dropped into the map, it is time to head to our first objective. We can travel around the map much faster with the use of our trusty horses, which you can summon with the press of a button.
Oke, ini menarik nih kalau mau
When
dimainin
fighting enemies, I
bareng-bareng.
can use different firearms and a variety of spells to do damage or heal myself and teammates. Spells and guns can also be comboed together to make their effects more powerful, spread their damage further, or even create new spells.
Ini modelnya kayak Helldivers.
To summon this
Ya kena 4
boss, we
orang.
need to do the obvious.
Tapi dengan
Launch a nuke
skin
at its
yang
nest.
beda
So
gitu.
let's get this rocket loaded with explosives and shoot it into the sky. When playing co-op, you have to work together as a team to complete the
Punya
objectives
misi.
and defend yourself from
Ya,
enemy
Davis
attacks.
juga punya misi.
Right now, we're throwing sticks of dynamite to my teammate for him to put in the rocket, of which he is actually only catching a few. While carrying out objectives, you will attract the attention of the enemy hordes, who will try and stop you. Now we have the rocket all powered up, let's launch it at the boss nest to really make it angry.
Helldivers versi cute nih.
This bounty is far from over. Now we have to take the beast down. Let's summon the boss and get this party started. We won and the boss is dead, but we aren't safe yet. So let's get to the station to get the last train out of town. When the train is called, we have to stay alive for its arrival, which is easier said than done when the whole of the Far West wants you dead. We made it out alive. Well, some of us. Which means we get to keep the resources we found along the way. These will allow us to upgrade our characters even more and be stronger for the next bounty. This was just one simple game of Far Far West. There are multiple bosses, maps, objectives, weapons, spells, upgrades, and cosmetics, all unlockable through play. You can play the playtest with your friends right now.
As a parent, you've got one job. Protect your family. Whatever happens, you do it or die trying.
Pixel art lagi ini.
But even if you kick the bucket, you don't stay dead for long.
Waduh, ini selama 3 jam beneran ya? Jam 4 kayaknya selesai jam 7 nih.
first up, we saw X Killer. That's coming from Paradox Studio. It's kind of, I mean, the vibes look great to me. It was reminding me a little bit, you disagreed, but like a cyberpunk in the wild.
No,
in the
I
West.
just see it.
And the animation work was crazy good, like the world building.
I think the way it's described is a post-apocalyptic Western-style FPS with a bounty hunter vibe. And so we even saw in the trailer they were picking up bounties. It kind of reminds me of Fallout as well.
Yeah, a little bit of Fallout in there.
So I think it looks like a lot of fun. That could be a new kind of like staple in those types of games, to me at least.
Yeah, it's a great combination. I mean, it looks fantastic. Like, it's stunning.
Animation.
It's coming from such a small
Sci-fi
team.
cowboy, I'm in.
Yeah, done.
Say less.
Money.
Then we had Far Far West coming from Evil Raptor, Western-themed action shooter project. The way I've been describing it, to be honest with you, is Western Sea of Thieves. There's a lot of depth there. It looks like that's not a bad comparison. Sea of Thieves was very fun to me.
What if Sea of Thieves but cowboys, basically?
Well, it's that, but also with specific hunts and like bounties. We're going out and doing boss fights with each other.
It seems very teamwork based too. Like you saw a clip there where they were fighting the boss on the ground and one of them was up top and your teammate threw the dynamite up, caught it, planted it. Looks really cool.
Third on this list, another Western. This game is pretty mind-blowing. I think we're all on the same page for that.
The art
was
style is
Erosion.
divine.
I could see this one being like...
This is going to be a big one.
Yeah, a big one.
Well, like the most compelling aspect of it to me is the time passing affecting not just the world that you're exploring, but also like literally your daughter. She grows older every death that happens.
I think it's
a decade goes past.
So the worse you are at the game.
If you die 20 times, like she's not gonna be
dead.
there when you get there. You're gonna be talking to a gravestone. But it's just a very captivating art style, like you
It's also
mentioned.
open world.
Open world roguelike. Yes.
We're gonna have people that are gonna want to go deathless runs of this. I hope that maybe there's a glimpse of hope of like if you have a deathless run or maybe a one.
That's
death
like
run,
the true ending or something.
There's a happy ending, but I imagine that most other endings are not gonna be so happy, or at least a bit sadder.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah,
It looks really good.
We're gonna see a lot from that game.
For sure.
Next up, we have a very exciting section for people who like competitive games, shooter games. We have an awesome interview that Jake did with the executive producer of the Division franchise. We also have Alpha Response, a game coming from the original creator of Counter-Strike, Min Lee, or Gooseman, whatever you know him as, Last Man Sitting from Pixel Pizza, and Sand Raiders of Sophie by Holygriff.
Oh, ini dia Division.
If you imagine a real world location, the most important city in the United States, Washington, D.C., completely ravaged by a pandemic and struck by the strongest, worst blizzard of all time. And you are going to have to survive and extract the most valuable resources. And of course, that leads us to survivors. So what are we doing? Like, we can't rest on our laurels, our 10-year-old laurels from survival. So we're reimagining it. We're bringing
Division nih game Ubisoft yang paling oke loh menurutku.
to Washington DC. And that's something
Game
that
online-nya
we've
masih
never
jalan loh
seen
nih.
in Washington.
Masih banyak yang main.
We're going to
Kan aku main
transform the entire map. We're
kayak
thinking about it in a
free roam
very
gitu ya,
different
cari
way. With innovations
cari orang,
that
cari
haven't
party
been
itu
seen
gampang
yet.
banget di sini.
There's a focus on this to make
Beneran.
it such a different feeling experience from the core Division 2 experience.
Ya,
So I
orangnya
think we've
sana
got something
baik-baik.
super promising.
Meskipun aku levelnya dikit,
is developed
veterannya
with,
mau main
Magnus Jensen,
nggak masalah.
who is the original Division 1 creative director. So this is a guy who lives and breathes the Division. He's so excited about jumping into this type of game mode again. And there is a hint in the title of something that we're going to be doing really differently from everybody else. We always develop with a player in mind, with player types in mind. And I think here we have to acknowledge that the Division 2 has a large player base of passionate gamers. And one of the things that we want to do is really lean into the sort of comfort game of the Division 2. People are happy to jump in, know their way around the controller, know their way around the map. They know how to play this game. So we're going to take that and subvert it a little bit and change the map and make sure that the weather has an impact on you, which it doesn't have in Division 2. So there are lots of little things that we're doing to surprise our core audience. Veteran players, they're going to be surprised. All of these locations that they know by heart, they're going to be transformed. So the Division 3 is in production, right? This is not a secret. It's been announced. It's shaping up to be a monster. I can't really say anything more than that, but this is within these walls in Massive. We are working extremely hard on something that I think will be as big an impact as Division 1 was. There's a team in Paris working on this, and they're putting the final touches on a mobile execution of the promise of Division 1. So Division 1, New York, pandemic strikes, take back New York. This is a brand new story with mechanics that are really fine-tuned to a mobile phone. Graphically, this looks like a PS5. You may have seen the adverts for it. It looks phenomenal, really, really good. It plays really good. And it has a few innovations. You know, the Dark Zone, this area of atypical PvP. It was an area where, much like other games today, popular games today, you could walk around, you could hear gunshots, go over there, there'd be another agent. You'd approach cautiously, feel each other out, and decide whether to partner or to actually engage in PvP. The whole of the Resurgence map is friendly to other agents. So you'll hear gunshots on a corner. You won't need to be in the Dark Zone. It could be anywhere, and you can group with those people. So PvP is off by default, but being able to group up and to see other agents in the streets, that's never been done in a Division game before, let alone a mobile game.
Respons. Terlalu generik. Ini apa nih? Ini konyol nih. Oh ini. Ini di TGA ada deh. Battle Royale tapi pakai kursi. Kursi kantor. Last man sitting. Last man sitting. Konyol sini. Bisa salto pakai kursi loh. Konyol.
Last Man Sitting is a game where you blast through the environment mounted on an office chair. So you're always on an office chair. And you also have a freaking gun. So movement-wise, it sort of feels a bit like you're skating, but it's also most definitely a shooter.
And you guys also described the game as a battle royale. So
Best
is it lean BR? Is it more shooter? Is it a mix of both? How's that go?
So many years ago, there's early like prototypes of the game. It was a battle royale game. And it sort of went viral and got like a lot of followings based on some short videos of the game. But then as we developed the game more, we found that we wanted to gravitate away from that a bit. So we saw some limitations with the Battle Royale gameplay. Eventually the game became more like more of a 4-player chaotic PvP shooter. More like a shooter version of Super Smash Bros., which is like one of our favorite games at the office. There's like different maps, there's different modes also. We worked on the PvP mode. We also made a PvE mode, which is more like maybe best compared to Swarm survival games. So it's more like a lightly narrated story where you go up against your manager and you like go up in the floors of an office building. You have to survive for a certain amount of time. There's more and more enemies coming that become more numerous and more ridiculous as time goes by. There's mini bosses, there's main bosses. And you level up, you get power-ups, and this is where like you can get even more power-ups when playing the PvE game mode. So that's when it gets really ridiculous.
Okay.
And you can unlock, of course, new weapons, new characters, new abilities. You can upgrade your chair, so you can.
That was one of my questions. So
we looked a lot at this like early 2000s aesthetic. Which we thought was like really cool, especially like when we started designing the user interface. We felt like, you know, what if the whole user interface just felt like Windows Millennium Edition or Windows XP, and you have you know that those little square windows, and you have the font that we all remember. So eventually the game sort of became more of this like 2000s nostalgia type game. We also have a lot of like Counter-Strike players at the office. So that's definitely something that I think has had its imprint on the game as well. Imagine it's 2002 and you're listening to punk music and you're playing on your Windows XP computer. That's sort of the feeling that we want the game to have.
I say first up, we're going to talk about the Division interview. Of course, we weren't able to get a a ton of new information, but they are working on a lot of different projects right now.
I don't know if I've ever talked to anyone else who has 26 years at a single company in gaming. So talking to him, he was, I was doing a bit of glazing because everything he said felt like a storytelling experience. And so we're talking about Survivors, and this is the kind of redone version of Division 1's original Survival. And so it's a snowstorm impacted, weather hit Washington, D.C., and it's what he kind of also alluded to as like one of the original extraction shooter-esque like games. But yeah, you have to fight for survival out and weather the elements. He says it's really, really shaping up. And also original players of Survival are going to experience, he couldn't tell me everything, but they're going to get to experience, you know, remastered things and things that are updated from the original that they did want, but he couldn't tell me too much as to what it was, besides that it's really shaping up and it's really interesting. And both new coming players, you don't have to play Division or Division 2 to stumble across this and love it just as much.
I think with the success, obviously, of games like Arc Raiders right now, you even mentioned that, it's an interesting conversation around, do you try to chase those things and copy stuff, or not even copy, but take inspiration from it, or are you having to come up with your own ideas that you've been working on for 10 years or however long? It's just interesting how they've been working on this for a long time, and now there's a mega popular game in the same exact vein.
Yeah, and he said it a lot more eloquently than I can ever represent it as, but you know, he realizes it's probably a mix of things. Like a lot of other games are doing extraction shooters with certain things here, but they've also had an image of where they want to be and where they want to go for quite some time now, and now they're finally getting to breathe that into existence slowly.
They also talked a little bit about Division 3, which when I say a little bit, I mean like a little bit.
He gave me a quote. He gave me a quote. He gave me a quote. Julian said this. He said, "It's shaping up to be a monster." And I said, I'm gonna clip that, Julian. Thank you very much.
I would say a highly anticipated game that they can't share a lot about, but we were excited just to hear that it's a monster, as much as people love these other games. Next up, we had Alpha Response coming from Min Lee.
For anyone who doesn't know Min Lee, the original creator of Counter-Strike, I love this guy. We've had the chance to meet him on a couple occasions, also sit down and talk with him. He went to his first Counter-Strike major this past year. It was an incredibly rare experience to see like such a notorious dev get to see what his game has truly become, and he was there since the very, very beginning. And then to see like an esport develop out of it was crazy. Not to go on too much of a tangent, but he still has that shooter DNA in him, and so this is kind of a mission-based shooter, might you, and you also play as law enforcement, but the goal is to complete a series of missions. And yeah, definitely remains true to the whole shooter Gooseman DNA.
It looks like Counter-Strike meets Payday, but you're the good guy. I mean, you're the law enforcement.
Then, speaking of Counter-Strike, we talked to a guy who was highly inspired by Counter-Strike, which is so cool to me to have in the showcase. So, like, we have the OG who made this game, then we have a guy who's inspired by that guy. This was Last Man Sitting.
It's so ridiculous, and I love it.
We need games like this.
It feels like a mixture of like Tony Hawk's Skater Pro, but replace the skates with chairs, and then
give them all weapons.
And give them some guns. Why not?
The clips are going to be insane.
Yeah.
You're going to see some wild stuff come out of this game. The things people are going to be doing.
And they're still working on a lot when it comes to PvP versus PvE, but at the core base of it, they want it to be PvP based. It's going to be a round-based game, and so I believe 4 players. So super competitive lobbies, but I think you can
also a chaotic shoot.
Very, very chaotic, and it progresses round by round. So their unique feature in competitive balancing is it's the first player to win 5 rounds. But if you lose a round, you get a power-up. So you get an ability, and that is their way to balance.
Even the odds a little bit.
You can even upgrade your chair.
Yeah, so by the end, which you can, and by the end, it's gonna be pretty hectic because of course, if everyone's taking their turns and winning 3 rounds, 4 rounds, whatever, by the end, you're all gonna be super OP. And so the ultimate goal is to win that 5th round. You're gonna have to beat some pretty high-powered people.
My favorite part of the interview is hearing him say, you know, we're inspired by Counter-Strike, Super Smash Bros, the Call of Duty era. He just wanted to see people 360 no-scope others and like made a game out of it.
In an office chair. And if you see the trailer, you'll see the agents or the characters, and you'll be like, oh, that looks like Counter-Strike, and he'll say, yep, that was kind of, we're all big Counter-Strike
You just know
fans.
he grew up on the quick scope montages, 360 trick shots.
Well, and I love the idea of like they're sitting brainstorming the game, and he's like, I want to make a shooter, but what's our unique spin on it?
Wait a second.
Guys, get in here. You're never gonna believe this. You might want to sit down.
It'll make sense.
Then finally, in that section, we had Sand Raiders of Sophie. The developer is Hollygriff as well as Tower House, but the publisher is Tiny Build, who we're all very familiar with. This is a co-op action adventure. You're in a desert world. Honestly, it reminded me of another. I don't remember it. They were like sailing in the desert in some other game, but this. My favorite part about this is that you could see them building your ship. That you're then like traversing the desert
It's kind of like a
fighting
base
people.
building.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of reminded me of Sea of Thieves meets Base Builder.
Rust.
Where you're like, you're building your own
Rust.
ship. Yeah. It's very cool.
Rust on legs.
There's also normal gunplay too, as well, though, which I found. At first, I was like, oh, it looks cool, but then I saw there were like normal guns too. So.
I like it's a new concept. I feel like where they were probably, I have to assume, fans of Rust or fans of different types of games. They're like, okay, what if we make a moving base in the desert, and then you can explode people's bases? Or I'm curious. We didn't see it in the trailer. I'm curious if you can raid other people's bases.
I'm pretty sure you.
That'd be the coolest part. If you raid their
like
their
jump
base.
off of yours.
Pretty sure you
Yeah.
can take other people's bases. I'm pretty sure.
Next up, we have a section that a couple of us are definitely going to be very excited about. This is the 25th year that Jagex has been making RuneScape at this point, which is extremely impressive. I know Jake and I have been playing it our entire lives. We've got old school RuneScape, we've got RuneScape 3, and we have Dragon Wilds.
The Trinity!
Right, so 3 games, massive games that have been around for a long time. A lot of people have heard of.
I think we should just give the room to Jake.
I love it here.
Use the bathroom real quick.
This is my favorite part for all you RuneScape fans.
When we all arrived here, the first thing I saw was Jake on his laptop and RuneScape was pulled up next to Twitter.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Did you see how Hunter has like a side monitor just
He does this.
Really? I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
cool. These guys are real
Lower level?
fans, though.
Yeah.
I'm north of 1800 now.
I'm over 2100.
I knew
so-
that's why I didn't want to answer because I knew you were going to lead into it. Anyway, Jagex has given us a variety of exclusives across all 3 games. We're super happy to talk about it.
They've done a lot of very impressive things over the past year, I would say. They did Varlamore with Jake's favorite, the Gemstone Crab, just AFK there, it's awesome. Has the Delve with Doom. They have the Gridmaster this year, which was super fun. I played that one. They also added Sailing most recently, which is the first new skill ever in old school RuneScape. Had a lot of back and forth. My favorite part about it is the fact that they listened to the community a lot with the release of it. The exclusive they gave us was this new logo reveal for the next league season.
Not into it. League 666? What the heck is this? Demonic pack.
So that was League 6 Demonic Packs. We don't know much more past that. Obviously, Leagues is a lot of fun and probably the most engaging time periods of RuneScape. I think you see player peaks every time. So I imagine a lot of those WoW players are going to come back and be a part of that. Outside of that, RuneScape 3 was also in the news a lot this year.
For a variety of reasons. One of the biggest ones being they've removed the biggest monetization methods they had in the game, which was widely talked about and has been for probably next to a decade. Obviously, in the MMO genre, you have to make money to sustain such big games and big servers for a reason and to keep these updates coming. They're not small teams. And so it was that community battle of like, we need monetization, but at what point is it too much monetization? And they finally reached that breaking point.
I think we also have some reveals of some of the areas they're revamping, which is very cool. They're trying to declutter the entire world because right now the game, if you, as an old school player, log on, you're probably like, what is going on?
Yeah,
most of the time. So that's very cool. They also gave us the image of their anniversary cape, which looks fire.
Isn't that beautiful? And I actually have one behind me.
This is Jake's Avengers Endgame.
Oh, man.
And then finally, we also had Dragon Wilds, which is a game that we are very excited about.
Another incredible game.
We are big fans of those types of games.
Yep.
Valheim, we spent a ton of time on. So when RuneScape announced this, we were super stoked personally and played it. They're in early access, but they talk a lot about their their 1.0 release and everything that's coming.
For those unaware, Dragon Wilds is the survival game inspired by RuneScape. And so being a big survival game guy and my love for RuneScape, it was kind of the mixing of both worlds. So Dragon Wilds was always going to be a big thing for me. And as you said, it is early access, still developing. They are aiming for that full release though. It's still a great game and getting better and better.
If you like games like Valheim or Enshrouded, I would say this is the kind of game
100%.
you would like to play, because it's just like that. You can spend a ton of time building your house and making it better and better. And then they're also adding iconic RuneScape things. Again, we talked about that with like the cube. It's cool to see a world you already love in another format.
The fresh twist.
Yeah.
They already have released their roadmap, but we have a lot of cool stuff that is coming to the game that RuneScape players will recognize. New skills come out at each time, so fishing, prayer, agility. You're gonna get mithril armor, rune armor coming out. There's 3 new regions next year coming with the 1.0 update, like over time. And then we got the first look at Dowden Reach, which is their next region. You're gonna recognize these Black Knights, which look a lot scarier than from,
he's not gonna make it
from
through this.
RuneScape. If this is the Black Knight's fortress, it looks absolutely incredible.
Incredible.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. Right.
I don't know if I'm gonna continue after this segment.
You guys have heard me and Jake talk way too much about this. We also have a message from a couple of creators that you might recognize from the RuneScape community.
RuneScape and Jagex has just turned 25 years old. And the recent year has actually been incredible. And what is to come over the course of 2026 and beyond is something that, as a player myself of RuneScape for 23 years, I am so excited. I mean, I think the game right now, old school RuneScape, is in the best place it's ever been. But Jagex as a company is turning into potentially being the best they have ever actually been. In 2025, over old school RuneScape, we didn't just have many different pieces of content, such as sailing, Balamar, Royal Titans, a duo boss that came to the game. We actually also hit an all-time high player since the game actually released over a decade ago.
Belum buat showcase tadi
It's absolutely incredible. But that is
Division, the Division 2, kemudian ada The Division yang mobile. Itu aja sih. Kayaknya itu ya. Cuman nggak tahu nih game yang baru apa. So kita tunggu. Aku nunggu sampai jam 7 kayaknya.
Yeah. Now Raid Sport, I know nothing about right now, so I can't really say much, but that is the thing I am the most excited for and have been the most
Apa yang
excited
baru?
for.
Ini belum ditunjukin Crimson Desert lah.
And if that is not everything, we have
Jadi
League
pembukaan
6.
udah ada
One thing
Dawn
about
Walker
League 6, and that
yang
is League
bagus.
6 Demonic Pacts. All I can say, that's all I know right now. But League 6 will be coming most likely in Q4 of 2026. Can't fact check that, I do not know. But that means League 6 may contain Blood Moon Rises and Raid 4 inside of whatever League 6 is going to be, and that is going to be incredible. As for RuneScape 3, I'm not a huge player or ambassador of RuneScape 3. I am more on the old school side, but there is a massive update that occurred earlier on that I was able to get behind, and so did all of the old school RuneScape community and basically anybody inside the community. And that was the removal of a microtransaction called Treasure Hunter. And finally, RuneScape Dragon Wilds. I played it when it first came out with Ashenvale, I believe it was called. And in the most recent expansion, Fell Hollow, I recently have played that one as well, and I have completed it. And Dragon Wilds is a game where it's not even fully released. But when I say that, 2026, Dragon Wilds will be fully released to everybody, completely done. But you can play it now. You will only just get the first 2 expansions. And the first 2 expansions as a standalone game is incredible. I cannot wait to see the expansion to the entire thing when we get the entire world, the entire universe of what's going on there. So far, the gameplay is incredible. Whoever's working behind that team, honestly, I feel Dragon Wilds, when it's released later this year, I don't know when, again, it's going to be a masterpiece when it's fully done, when you can start a new character, go through Ashenvale, go through Fell Hollow, and then go through the next 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, whatever level of different realms there's going to be. But you can still play it now, early, and you can play the expansions as they release. Right now, we have Ashenvale, we have Fell Hollow, and we will be getting another expansion fairly soon into 2026, and that will be the release of the Mithril, and I think the Fishing skill. Honestly, Jagex, 25-year anniversary, the game, the company, everything, it's looking good, and I'm very, very excited for the future.
And if you guys haven't yet, make sure to go play RuneScape, one of the greatest games of all time.
Next up, we have a group of 4 games, that being Darklight Survivor coming from Mirai & Co., Tape 101 coming from Serversa, and Unawake from Reality Art Studio, Nested Lands from 1M Bits Horde.
Lagi kah? Iya. Kind of. Ya anggap aja mirip kayak Helldivers single player nih. Ini mirip kayak gitu ya. Mirip banget loh. Alien-alienan ini. Third person shooter. Bisa top down view, iya. Bisa 2 mode tuh ya. Darklight Survivor. Oh, Survivor. Game indie. Oh ini ada di trailer nih. Aku nggak tahu apa nih. Bikin cult gitu. Ini aku lihatnya kayak Cult of Lamb ya. Ya. Punya perkumpulan sendiri. Bangun desa gitu. Sorry, voice actornya kok gitu ya. Bring out the dead, bring out the dead. Biasa aja gitu. Psychology mystery horror. AP101. Banyak banget tapenya. Kalian tahu tape nggak sih? Ya. Oh, ini bagus nih.
I struggle to become an aspect of courage, freedom, and honor.
Apa nih?
So much for the glory of angels.
Gak mungkin Elden Ring dong. Gak ada tulisannya From Software kok tadi. Masa indie kayak gitu sih? Oh ya indie ya. Oke. Trailernya bagus loh. Trailernya bagus, tapi waktu gameplaynya udah kelihatan oh ya indie. Tapi oke, Souls-like FPS ya. Souls-like first person. Bukan FPS sih. Ya, first person lah. Senjatanya 2 doang. And awake. Okay. Reality art.
First up, we saw Darklight Survivor. Maybe one of the games we've seen that kind of blew our mind a little bit. You had top down, you had third person, and something else.
Oh, the instantaneous switch, of course, between top down and third person, but then the pixel art, being able to instantaneously
adapt
yeah.
to.
That's
it's
insane.
really sick.
Yeah, combining both those features, because you said it and I was like, wait, is that what it's doing? I had to.
Yeah, you can sort of like just toggle it.
That's such a crazy.
My understanding.
Such a crazy feature.
So it's a game like a roguelike game.
Yeah.
And a little bit kind of like Vampire Survivors in the style of Megabunk. So you can either have the top-down view, first-person view, whatever you prefer, and you swap all the time. Sick.
I think it's interesting to think about the strategy element of that probably that comes into play, like when you're fighting certain things.
Yeah, maybe some
Maybe if
bosses
you're
it's
seeing a
useful
boss
to
Because
that
on
way.
the surface, it seems like it's just like it's a personal preference thing, but it might actually have its place in like the gameplay loop. Like if you're in a certain situation, like, I should go top down.
Or maybe
real quick.
depending the skill that you use.
Yeah, because you may think that it's just like a gimmick for a different viewpoint or filter or whatever, but the idea that you could use it tactically as a gameplay mechanic too is really cool.
Aiming for early access in late Q1 of 2026. They already have a demo out that a lot of people have played, and we've said this a lot of times. One of my favorite parts about these devs already is that they have listened to their players who have played the demo. They made it a point to tell us, like, we've made 6 patches in the demo based on player feedback, and I think that's super important, especially for a game that looks as good as this, because it can be a lot of fun. You know, roguelike survival with mechanics we've never seen before, as far as I'm aware, so it should be fun. Next up, we had Tape 101, a game that's probably too scary for Jake to play. If I had to.
I had to literally cradle him while we were watching that. I thought he was gonna.
All these
cry.
things are true. Yeah, you guys know me so well.
What I appreciated about it is it's not a jump scare game.
Yeah, they've stressed they don't want to do jump scares. It's specifically psychological, mind melty, unnerving horror.
You will not have jump scares, but you will have nightmares.
You know the thing is, that sounds like something that a developer of a game that has jump scares in it would say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no jump scares.
Yeah, there's.
They sound like my chat anytime I play a scary game. No,
I feel like you just have trust issues because of unresolved problems.
You're 20 hours in, that's when you're gonna finally see the jump scare, and it's gonna be one big gotcha.
Honestly, I would kind of respect them for doing that.
That would be awesome. I was definitely unnerved by just the music, whatever's going on in the background. They did a great job.
But there's cool little twists to the backgrounds too,
It kind of
right?
feels at times that you're also hallucinating because of like the camera.
Well,
angle.
it's like video camera, and
Yeah.
you were in an RC car during certain points, like exploring it. We had nested lands as well. It's a village in survival, like village management in survival type of game, where obviously very medieval. A lot of, I mean, what was the last shot? Like throwing bodies on a fire?
Yeah. Bring out your dad. I will say, I love management games. I love management games and sim games, village management sim games. Like this is right up my alley.
This feels like Manor Lords meets survival. So it has a different viewpoint, and you got to take care of not just yourself, but everyone around you.
If you don't, your entire village is just gonna be.
Yeah, they even show the burning bodies. Like, yeah, sorry, you lost some of your peeps.
Yep.
Better make
Done.
better decisions.
What I liked was seeing the blend of, like, obviously you're playing as this person and you have to survive, and he was like hunting stuff, and like that, but I imagine you're also recruiting people for your settlement as like the king, and then you have to like choose who to recruit and build on a village.
Initially, it may start with you doing the micromanagement, but you eventually can assign villagers to go do the forage, go
Kind of like
hunting.
in Power World, how your pals become your workers without a wage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then finally, we had Unawake, a game, a first-person action game, mixed kind of a little bit of fantasy. You're battling hordes with melee, ranged weapons. It's hack and slash. It's roguelike. Looks like kind of like a Doom Skyrim to me.
I mean, honestly, the art direction was beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, those environments, you see them, and it's just...
It's very pretty.
No, but something about it, I don't even know if I have a comparison. For some reason in the back of my mind, this probably won't make it. Mordor-esque, like, it just looked really good.
Yeah, Mordor.
Very dark version of Mordor, but
The atmosphere.
Yeah, that's
That's like
a bummer version of hell.
Some notes they gave us: expected to launch early access late 2026 as well. They are designing the game to be moddable after release, which I think is really cool. People who like Path of Exile, they specifically called out it's a central skill and stat tree that is similar to Path of Exile, but more approachable. So it's not going to break
expect a skill forest instead of a skill tree.
Skill force, lots of complexity, lots of interlocking skills, layers of progression.
So I think a lot of it's going to be a game for people who really like their builds of things and like, okay, how can I specialize in this?
Oh, dude, I'm doing this all day. Just
Did you know that
Do that for me one more time. Just show me the
and then the double sword grab they were doing. And the fact it's moddable, I would love to see the direction that goes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's so much potential. You could have modders come in, do additional levels, boss fights, romance. Unironically, you could add that if you want it. Like, lots of potential.
I think the world is too dark for that stuff.
Well, with that attitude, yeah. But maybe with romance,
Love
it wouldn't be so dark.
Love can exist anywhere. A mod could brighten the world up a little bit.
Next up, we have a very exciting segment where we actually got to sit down with the executive producer over all of the Warhammer 40K series, as I understand it, Anatoly Shestov.
By enemies from within. By enemies from without. By enemies from beyond.
Imagine you're playing inside Warhammer universe by the guys who can't use the army, who need to find this particular person in charge of bad things to make Imperium stand for one more day before grumbling to dust. That's basically how I would describe it. Just imagine the true Warhammerish stories where no choices are good, but you don't have an option to go away. You need to get your hands dirty, and it's just a matter of how precisely you will achieve this. One of the most significant changes that any player would experience compared to the Rogue Trader would be more stakes, more value in a surrounding, in any environment that you're playing with. The covers, the line of sights, we radio how they are calculated, how they are working, and how much benefit they providing to the party. So it's basically would be more playing around the environment. We abandoned the step up mechanics. So if you're ending your turn behind some wall, you are behind some wall. There won't be like one circle around you that allows you to step up of this cover and to shoot at anything. If you so the place where you start your turn, the place where you're ending your turn would be more significant. Other thing is role-playing model. There are way more roles being made inside the combat. Lots of the things making you roll something, lots of the things make your opponents roll something. So it's not just your weapon skill or ballistic skill, it's way more significant influence of the role-playing choices that you've made previously. Almost all of the combats in the game will have alternative ways to finish them, not just killing all of your enemies. We are allowing player to target specific parts of the body of the enemies, and by doing this we're allowing to make your opponent lose an option to move or lose the option to use abilities. There are different ways how you can tactically approach your desire, your design of how to proceed with the combat. And of course, there is a whole new subsystem that came on a change of the momentum. This is a morale system. Momentum was a party-based, and you spend it to activate some heroic moments of your companions. For the Dark Heresy, we feel it need to be more intimate, more personal, and not just for your party. We are not just telling a story through the environment or the words of in a dialogue. No, we're actually making cases. We're actually making the culprits. We're actually collecting and interpreting evidence and discussing them with your retinue and analyzing them and making conclusions. There are some other mighty forces inside the scintilla because you're not playing in a vacuum and you need to struggle for power, but most of the time you are playing as a person in charge, as a person that have authority, and the person who need to make hard choices. One of the most significant ways of the influence of a story for Dark Heresy would be your decision of which case is more important. For example, there is a uninspired slums, and this is a toxic waste, and the level of the toxic sea is growing. And if you're going there as a first place, there will be toxic waste somewhere nearby, and there will be people getting ready to be consumed by the toxic waste. But if you are going there late stage, there will be actual toxic sea, and you will be playing around, and there will be changes in the geometry, and changes in the combat encounters of how they are playing, changes in the narrative behind this, and changing based on the timings, how you decided how you approach this.
To venture forth into darkness and bring the light of the Emperor to the uncharted void. All must be cleansed in his name.
Is there anything you can tell us about like new factions, new notable characters, or iconic Warhammer 40k lore?
There would be Treason, I don't know, most iconic thing that you can potentially name and encounter as a rogue trader, as a Treason. It would be some interesting takes on Astra Militarum. I won't share specifics not to spoil the fun, but it would be there. And there would be some brand new systems, like augments ones. You will be able to replace some parts of your body with interesting pieces of Imperium technology. There would be some elaboration on a story of the world behind the main road of the Inquisitor Calcasar's shenanigans. Let's say it like this. It would be some interesting dive on a past of the von Valancius dynasty, even further than Theodora. There would be some new takes on how dangerous wildlife can be. Other thing that definitely we will provide for the player is some vaults, the Treason vaults, some collections of pretty wild things being gathered by this Necron. Of course, this is a rogue trader story, and rogue trader is kind of part of his void ship, so there would be some expanding of the void ship, some new places to visit, some old places to revisit. It would be new companion with a whole set of unique mechanics inside it. It would be the general system of augmentations provided to the players, so if you always wanted to replace the limbs of the Heinrichs with some like pretty adamant ones, you will have such an option. Not just Iron Hands from the Biomonsi, but the real Iron Hands. Yes, that's an option. It's the first DLC that allows us to expand the late game parts of the Rogue Trader and expanded not mechanically, but expanded in a 100% of the different aspects of the game.
Let's first talk about the new DLC for Rogue Trader.
Actually, I'm gonna interrupt you. Can you tell people generally, basic bitches like Jake, can you explain Warhammer 40K as general? Like what's the playthrough about?
We actually asked Anatoly to describe all of this for people not familiar with Warhammer, and this is how he described it.
Imagine you're playing inside Warhammer universe by the guys who can't use the army, who need to find this particular person in charge of bad things to make Imperium stand for one more day before grumbling to dust. That's basically how I would describe it.
There's a new companion, and there's also, this companion has unique mechanics, and
They're also doing things like new environments. They're revisiting previous environments and then overhauling them. They're altering and they're changing, not to get too specific, but they're changing things about the late game to extend that roadway. This DLC alone offers 12 to 15 hours of additional content. Like, there's a lot of meat on the bone.
so I'm very happy. I was extremely happy when he said that, yes, this game is going to be fully voice acted. And I'm really excited because it helps people to, have like this depth and this, to understand how the characters really feel, especially in a world that's so heavy and difficult.
Dark even at times.
Yes.
But to be clear, Dark Heresy is not, it's not like a sequel to Rogue Trader. It's
Yes,
a
it's
separate
a
system.
separate-
It works different mechanically. There's different things going on, but my understanding, and speaking with Anatoly, was that it's going to be a very narrative focus. That's the primary concern. Not that Rogue Trader was not a focus, but that's where a lot of the effort is going with the voiced cast throughout the entire thing and many other aspects of it. The narrative is like the central component.
One of the things that I really enjoyed that he mentioned was you can target enemies' specific body parts to sever them during fight.
That was the coolest part that I
Yeah.
had seen.
So it's really nice because if they have like a they're very fast. So you want to target their legs to cripple them and so on. Not only that, but you know how sometimes you get into a very awkward situation where you're crushing the combat, and there is still that one guy that, in spite of all his friends being dead in the battlefield, he's still trying his. That's not going to be really a thing. Enemies can surrender. They can run away. They can try to sometimes maybe even negotiate their way out of this, and it's up to you to decide what happens to them.
Yeah, hearing all those combat options was the coolest thing to hear him talk about. Like, you can render your opponent useless in whatever different limb you want to actually target, but you can also make them blind. There's so many different unique features to the combat where even when I was listening to talk about it, I was like, okay, wow, I've never played a game like this, but it sounds really intriguing.
Yeah, and it was just interesting to see Anatoly describe how the team wanted to revisit some of those things that are taken for granted in RPGs, like the concept of just an enemy. Well, you fight until all the enemies are dead, and that's it. But the team went back and was like, that doesn't like necessarily make sense. Like, sometimes the guy would be like, you just blew his head off, you just exploded that guy.
Yeah,
I'm covered in John, like, I'm gonna run away now.
Yes.
And that just makes sense.
I love that description he gave. Yeah, I love that one.
It's lovely.
So, question for the group that I want to spin off of this. How do you play these games? Like, okay, now we know this critical system, you can blow their arm off, you can maim them, and they will surrender, maybe.
We know how she's gonna play it.
So the choice, like...
Make it as miserable as possible.
Let me take one arm and then feed him that arm while I take off the other arm. Oh, are you surrendering? I can't hear what you're saying.
Too late.
Yeah.
I think he understands me. There are some things that are really exciting about this game, and I cannot wait to try it. So I hope you guys are as excited as I am for this one.
And I can't stress enough, Owlcat Games, they know what they're doing when it comes to CRPGs. Like, they are not to be messed with. They know what they're doing, and I think this is one to keep an eye on for sure.
Next up, a few games that I would consider kind of couch co-op games that I would have fun sitting and playing with people, like at a party or with my family. This is going to be Towerborn, coming from Stoic and Xbox Game Studios. We have Sprint City from Double Dutch Games. These are the creators of Speedrunner, and Dinch Attack, coming from Undercoders.
Ini kayak game dingdong ya. Towerborn.
I would describe this as a
That's
brawler
scrolling, yeah.
meets action RPG. This is an awesome entry into the brawler space as somebody who tends to play a lot of RPGs and MMOs. So I have a lot of brain space and like I want to make really cool builds. A little less so in like how do I actually dodge and get out of things and find my openings. Early on, I was able to kind of compensate for that by finding nice little gear and little pieces to put together to eventually build my brawler skill set in. And I find myself kind of going back and forth as we play test between like, oh, I'm finding something that's a little difficult here. Well, what can I do with my gear set in order to tweak things, or like, is there a different skill that I should pick up for this particular encounter? And then be able to go dive right back in. The player is an ace, which is a deathless defender of humanity, which is currently sequestered away on the Belfry, which is McLaren's background over there. It's a tower that was set up for mysterious purposes, but turned out to be a pretty good haven for folks after the fall of their stronghold, the City of Numbers. The player is helping humanity as they can, getting refugees to safety, battling the beastkin that have risen and have become incredibly aggressive, while ultimately attempting to find out why did numbers fall and what conspiracy is still brewing there.
We wanted players to experience a brawler type combat inside like a Diablo style RPG gear sort of system, and so we've spent a lot of time over the last 6 months or so taking a ton of feedback from our players to really kind of hone that particular system. So players should be able to come in, pick one of the 4 classes that we have. They'll see a whole new set of skills. They'll find a whole bunch of new equipment, and the idea should be that they should feel like one of several heroes going in and just beating a bunch of like awesome monsters. We've tried to add new enemies, new lieutenants, and new bosses. I think people are gonna feel like quite the adventure as they go into the updated version of Towerborn. Stoic has always tried to be player first. When we decided to do early access for Towerborn, a lot of that was born out of we had a vision of trying to evolve the brawler into something bigger, something that hadn't really been done before. You can see other games have taken different routes. You know, some have taken kind of the roguelite route, some stayed into the traditional. We wanted to kind of expand into more like the true action RPG. And in order to do that, early access was very, very important to figure out what was going to work and what wasn't. Simultaneously, we didn't want to be caught in early access limbo, right? Like, I'm sure this is the kind of things that you would love to talk about. I love to talk about them too. How do you not stay in early access for 7 years? Our intent and purpose was we need to come out of early access solid. And there is a certain point where you just collect everything. Most of the feedback that's coming in either kind of falls into an existing category. Hey, a lot of people have said this thing. You know, maybe you might get something new, but you look at it and you're like, yes, it's new, but it's not reaching the, kind of urgency that some of these other things are. We have a good list of things now. This is kind of what the players have told us. We need to really deliver on that. And the best way we can deliver on that is just, put your head down, focus, and create an experience that I believe is worthy of coming out of early access, that people should look at that and say like, oh, okay, I see why you did it. Absolutely was worth it. I can see a clear night and day difference between what is in live right now and what I am receiving when you go into the 1.0.
One of the big pieces was that folks were big fans of certain pieces of actual gear that you would earn through the game, but there was no cosmetic version of that, and so you had to make the choice of like, do I want to look good, or do I want to look a little janky but more powerful? And so we added the ability to be able to create a cosmetic version of the gear that you earn through writs, which are earned through completing adventures.
And so the idea initially with Towerborn was we just want to make a fun beat 'em up with a light story in the background. We weren't really going to lean into kind of the stoic narrative strength that we have, and we just kind of wanted to take a bit of a breather. And we had expected, perhaps incorrectly, that the community would see it for what it is and be okay with it. But it turned out a lot of people were like, wait, you have something very interesting in the background here. we actually really want to know what's going on. We really would like something more clearly leading us through. And so we've spent a very significant amount of time and resource to put a narrative from the jump. And so there's an arc now. There's a primary antagonist. You will understand that antagonist. You will confront that antagonist, and there will be resolution. And so there's
Live
probably
Angel lagi Kak, apa nih?
12 to 20-ish hour story arc now in the game.
Di era modern.
Look
Ya,
forward
ini
to
tuh
and-
dia.
and feel like
Kalau
there's
Bang
gonna
Live
be
Angel lagi,
resolution
iya
to
ini
the
Live
entire
Angel.
point.
Game showcase sambil zoom gini jadi kayak inget 2020. Kenapa tuh? Yang mana 2020 2021 tuh? Nah, ini nih menarik nih. Konsep skating tapi pakai kereta anjir. Aneh sih ya. Ini game mobile apa game PC? Kayaknya PC sih. Tapi kalau ada game mobilenya seru juga loh.
Hello, we're Undercoders, and in the studio based in Barcelona. Recently, we've been focused on developing 3D
Barcelona.
platformers, but our studio is heavily influenced by arcade classics, Japanese culture, and extreme sports games. And Dems Attack is our dream project, a step forward for the studio combining everything we love.
Konsepnya menarik nih.
In Dems Attack, you'll discover a not-so-distant future Japan in which local railways have been abandoned and are now used by underground gangs to compete in illegal contests of train acrobatics. You'll have to rack up points by chaining tricks, explore huge levels, race against rival crews, and uncover a wild story as you travel through Japan taking the railways back.
Tapi enak banget loh bikin game yang kayak gini tuh animasinya nggak terlalu ribet karena nggak ada riggingnya.
Expressive, stylish, and totally up to you.
Paling cuman muter-muter trailer doang. Cuman satu gerbong lagi.
From our first trips
Nggak
in the
terlalu
late 90s, we've
ribet
been
gitu lah.
obsessed by traveling across Japan by train and being able to dive into the local culture, getting to know the architecture, the landscapes, the folklore, and we're always captivated by the sheer contrast of the
Semoga di
peaceful
tahun
countryside and the
2026
high
ada
energy of its huge
game
cities,
gak
which somehow
kontroversi
feels
lagi.
connected and part of the same cultural rhythm. It's a never-ending source of inspiration that has been fueling our creative energy
Banyak game
throughout all
yang
the
akan
years
keluar
and
sih
has now
2026.
materialized in Densha Attack.
Ya setiap tahun pasti ada sih.
On your adventure,
Tapi nggak
you'll
tahu
find a
kontroversi
variety of
apa nggak.
challenges to move forward. From trip pack arenas to compete for high scores, to objective based exploration levels, and even racing
Ini nggak
circuits.
terlalu.
The world is packed with a
Kadang perlu
bunch of
game-game
unique
absurd
characters from
atau
different gangs and
inovatif.
personalities that you will have to face on your journey through Japan.
Iya.
And with every new challenge, you will go as a dungeon
Ini nggak terlalu ini ya, lebih ke arcade
We've
ini.
handcrafted every stage
Gamenya.
from the ground up, pulling from real-world locations to make every landscape different but recognizable. You will go really fast, but if you look
Casual
closely, you'll
arcade
catch
gitu.
references to every corner of Japanese culture.
You'll be fighting wild
Nih,
boss battles
Subway
against
Surfer
scary
cuman
leaders, which
model
will
keretanya.
test everything that you've learned.
Bisa jadi robot dong anjing.
These are always full of surprises. You'll never know what secret technique your rival hides, so you'll have to get creative to overcome them with your train. They're a mix of spectacle, personality, and challenge that one could expect for an anime-style showdown made game. Densha Attack is a love letter to anime, skate games, and Japan's iconic train system. If you like Jet Set Radio, Tony Hawk, or Densha to Go,
Jet Set
you can't
Radio,
miss this
okay.
train. Pun intended.
Wishlist now. We can't wait to show you more.
Oh. Kan harus masuk mobile sih harusnya tuh.
Attack. It's the best game in the world. See us.
Hello, we're Undercoders. Hello, hello.
Wishlist now. Wishlist now. We can show. Wishlist now. We can't wait to show you more.
Bloopernya gitu ya tuh. Jadi aku kalau ngerekam video juga kayak gitu. Gak susah ngomong di kamera. Ini game baru, Speedruns. Sprint City, oke. Q1.
I've talked to McLaren and Shayna, and they were awesome and very chatty about their game, and for all good reasons. They were an early access game. They want to focus more on the RPG side of things, but technically speaking, looter, brawler, side scroller, like you said, meant to
Kind
be
of like Castle Crashers.
yeah, that is definitely the most common comparison they get, but along those lines of couch co-op, you want to play with a buddy or play with whoever's next to you, and they are actually an early access game, now going to full release. So this is their big update to justify the full release, but it was already definitely justified. Upon full release, we're looking at 170 plus missions. What they say is probably around 20 plus hours of content, and they also want to focus on these builds, which lead to an ultimate replayability. So there's also a difficulty bar they're going to be adding to all of this. They have a level that is going to be called, I believe, Brutal. And from what I'm being told, it will be extremely difficult, but the game is meant to be replayed plenty with you focusing on what builds you actually want as you play through it all.
There's definitely a huge market for co-op couch gaming right now in a world of like online multiplayer. I feel like that's kind of a lost art. You saw successive games like Split Fiction, stuff like that. So.
For those of you who are lonely without friends, I relate to you. I actually played this game by myself every time I have played it, and I still had a blast.
And for those who haven't checked out the original, with this big update though, also introducing a new biome. You have new bosses. The enemies you fight against have new styles of combat. So they are really introducing a full-fledged game that was already pretty fleshed out to begin with, but they're wanting people to be like, okay, this is technically a new game. So for those who are expected to stumble across this, you are getting a brand new side scroller with so much replayability.
And it's another situation where they took a ton of feedback from early access.
Yes, heavily community focused. Again, we've said it many a times. A lot of these devs know how to listen to feedback because those are their diehards, and they have definitely done that.
Next up, we had Dinch Attack.
I like Train.
I love these.
You tried to steal it from me, but I was taking that.
I love these guys.
Who doesn't like trains?
I love these guys.
This is my favorite Japan-inspired game ever.
I had seen this game before, but I didn't really understand what it even was. But now I understand what it is, the inspirations. Like, it makes sense. As weird as it is to say that an acrobatic train game makes sense to me, it makes sense now.
Yeah, because we were talking
Pikir-pikir
about
nggak ada ya game RPG atau FPS yang keluar. Lo ada tadi game-game
TikTok.
apa tadi?
It's under a Joe Rogan clip.
Ya sebelum ini ada FPS.
But in the best of way, because also I love doing this
Indie
kind of
ya, tapi
format
ya.
because you see a different
Banyak
side
kok.
of those devs. Like they went out of their way to send us that stuff, and we get to see a different side of them, and to see
Yang
and connect
Souls-like
with the faces behind it, and see
FPS.
their enthusiasm.
They're so fun.
Kalau triple A nggak terlalu ini ya.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
The boss, the mecha train thing.
Train
and, like,
boss is
When I
sick.
heard there's gonna be a boss fight in the train acrobatics game, I was like, what do you mean?
Yang menurut abang game anu yang paling rekomendasi.
I can't wait to know the storyline.
Aku main anu cuman 1.800 sama ini sama Pax Romana. Yang modern, yang modern 2025, 2200 berapa itu?
Next up,
Terus sempat main sih, cuman
City,
nggak
that is
terlalu.
coming from Double Dutch, which
Ya
was
Pax
the
Romana
creators of
aja.
Speedrunners, which is
Sistemnya
another
paling
very popular,
baru.
couch game that people have played for a very long
Yang
time. They have
recommend.
Speedrunners 2 already coming out, but this is a
Yang
whole
lainnya
different
nggak
game
terlalu
with the
ini.
same creators.
This looks like a game that
Nggak terlalu
in a good
banyak.
way, would really piss me off to lose to other people.
It looks like a game that would ruin friendships.
I would.
like it.
It looks like one of those side scrollers that I would fall so far behind where you can't even see the others, and it just kind of leaves you real
The first
upset.
jump, and you're like, I'm gonna get it
Turn the
eventually.
turn the console off.
Get a bigger
Start over.
get a bigger TV so I can see where they're at.
To me, Sprint City is the game that you are over at like a party. You know, it's like the Super Smash Bros. Effect.
Yes, yes.
It's like we played a round of Pong or something, and now we want to play a video game together. We're gonna go play this, and people are gonna get pissed, and Jake and Rob are gonna get in a fist fight probably, and like
He doesn't want that.
And who do you think is
Did
gonna
you
win
guys
that
ever
fist
play?
fight?
We already had this
Who do you
debate
think
today.
would win that? Just look at the size of the feet. Pretty close, aren't? Yeah.
Did you guys ever play Overcooked with your families?
I did not, but I've watched people and I've seen it ruin relationships. I feel like
It can. It's the ultimate test of communication. In this case, my understanding is the game is much more competitive, where you're playing against your friends, you're not really working together. But yeah, these types of games, I just
it's momentum based. It's Sprint City literally in like speedrunners, and so I feel like it's one of those games that's also probably very satisfying to be good at. And to be like
once it clicks,
But you can't be too good.
Once you're hitting all the
Yeah, but you
proper
can't be too
places.
good or your friends won't play with you.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing.
Okay, now we have a set of beautiful games, in my opinion. This is going to be Eternal Life of Goldman from We Appy Studio and THQ Nordic. We have Dust Fade from Weird Beluga in Fireshine, and another Fireshine game with Pugstorm called Core Keeper.
What do you mean?
What?
What do you mean he smashed?
What do you think? He fell from a great height.
Yeah, but he couldn't have... did he really die?
I imagine he was crushed to a pulp. Do you think they'll ever find his body?
Mom!
Okay, okay. I was just making sure you were paying attention.
Apa nih, kakek-kakek? The heck? Ini platformer kakek-kakek nih. Ini kayak studio Ghibli mau bikin game model Silk Song. Jadinya gini. Pak Storm, lucu banget. Oh ini. Multiplayer, oke. Pixel art lagi. Banyak banget pixel art ya. Nah, kenapa apa tuh Ubisoft mau bangkrut nih bang? Masih jalan kok. Masih jalan, nggak segimana gitu. Udah ditutup tuh studio yang kemarin tuh. Itu masih align ya, align sama rencananya yang kemarin. Dan 70 karyawan udah hilang pekerjaan. Tapi itu hemat uang, masih ada gitu. Tenang aja, kalau masalah bangkrut mah menurutku masih jauh ya. Ini Pokemon, Digimon. Ini aku lihatnya kayak karakternya Disney tuh loh yang pakai kunci tuh. Heart itu loh, siapa sih? Heart itu loh. Kingdom Heart, iya bener. Kingdom Heart. Mirip gak sih? Mirip banget stylenya loh. Senjatanya pakai jarum men. Ini lebih masuk akal daripada Kingdom Heart. Kingdom Heart pakai kunci. Jadi ini bisa senjata beneran gitu. Menarik nih. Untuk game indie ya lumayan.
You can't turn back time, my star. It'll be different, but you'll both be okay.
Ada nggak bang game dinosaurus? Oh, tungguin. Nanti ada nih. Nanti ada game dinosaurus lawan dinosaurus pakai pedang anjir. Belum ditunjukin di sini, harusnya ada loh. Ini kita udah nungguin 3 jam belum selesai ternyata. Rasanya jadwalnya sampai jam 7 deh. Ya lama ngobrol nih tadi. Nanti ada tuh dinosaurus tuh. Masih belum ditunjukin di sini. Nanti dinosaurusnya kayak Zoro gitu, punya pedang 3 Santoryu. Keren dinosaurusnya. Tapi modelnya PvP, player versus player gitu. By one. Dusk Fate. Ini menarik
First, we had
sudah.
Eternal Life of Goldman that we just watched that trailer.
It looks so
Art,
good.
art style is crazy.
I love the hand-drawn vibe. Oh.
Huge Hollow Knight,
It looks like those
huge Hollow
classic.
Knight vibes.
It looks so good.
Classic
It
animation.
gives me also Cuphead too.
Cuphead, it's like Cuphead, Hollow Knight.
Yeah. Oh, and so they've had a previous trailer that was very unsettling because the narrative,
Yes.
the narration went from like comforting,
Happy, and then it got
kind
really
to like
dark.
dark and scary. This one, it was much more.
I miss the murder
harder,
rides.
but like it works. I'm so excited. I think it looks so good.
It's gonna be emotional. It seems like an emotional game that like people are gonna get tied to. Like you said, Hollow Knight. What was it? Celeste, sort of.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, game of the year. I don't know.
Whoa.
As people like to say about any game.
Yeah, they have a free demo launching in February actually, so people can actually try it.
I love the narration, and I can't wait to see more behind it.
Like we touched on, I think it's one of those games that people will play because it's like a challenging platformer, side-scrolling type game, and then you're gonna be sobbing by the end of it.
Yeah,
I
it just
get that
seems
vibe.
very like they tell you just enough to pique your interest. They don't tell you much in the trailer,
And then
like,
they're gonna emotionally destroy.
Yeah, and it seems
you.
very dark, and you're like, well, why?
And hopefully set you up perfect for a sequel.
Yeah. Oh, you never know.
Hand painted as well. Hand drawn.
I don't even know how you do that though. Like, how do you hand draw a game? That's crazy.
Menurut abang kalau game Assassin's Creed collab sama One Piece gimana?
We're sitting here, and
I'm like,
they're-
where are the frames at? What do you?
Gak terlalu ini ya.
Really cool to go do a dive on in the studio.
Sama aja kayak AOT gitu, AOT aja deh. Coba kalau misal Black Flag gitu gak mulu sih sebenarnya aku gak suka gitu, tapi iya mungkin masih masuk-masuk aja. Oh ya, fan service aja.
Northern Biome on January 28th. There's a new boss. There's next gen weapons and armor. Whole new stuff.
Yeah, I play
Ini
this.
men, Assassin's Creed lagi collab sama
Raid Legends
itu loh.
I love it, and so seeing new
Itu
content.
nanti ada karakter Ezio sama Edward di sana.
By myself. I started playing it, and suddenly I had over 100 hours
Raid
in this game.
Legends
I
kalau
wish
masalah
I could
namanya
show
lupa
off my
aku.
base.
Yeah, I thought I was doing well. I mentioned it to Lua that I played Core Keeper, and I felt pretty good about where it was. And they're just like, yeah, I have 100 hours, and I have this, and this. I'm like, okay, I'll just leave.
It's a great game. I had a lot of fun. It's one of these games you start, and suddenly you spent a week playing it.
You will lose yourself.
Yeah.
The other night we stayed up till 1 a.m. playing it when we meant to play till 11, and it's just because.
It's good.
Yeah, it's just one more run through the mines. I'll be right back.
How would you define this game to someone who hasn't seen it?
I mean, I would say it's Stardew Valley, kind of meets Terraria, but it's like procedurally generated, up to 8-player co-op, so you can play with all of your friends, unless you have way more friends than me. And it's just every run is going to be different because it's all based on seeds, so you can have different save files for different friends and pairings. It's really, really cool.
You can actually use your same character in different save files. So if you're playing by yourself or in your friend's server, you can use the same character, or you can make a new character for their server. So it's kind of like you can visit their home.
And boss fights. I forgot about that.
Oh, the boss fights are so good.
Stardew Valley, more combat focused, but also co-op and boss fights.
So different boss fights have different mechanics. The boss system in this game is actually excellent. I have killed, I think, all of the bosses on the game as of right now, so I can't wait for the update, for the new stuff.
For a new one.
Then finally in that section we had Dusk Fade from Weird Beluga and
That's the
Fireshine.
one right there. That's the one.
They say it is a love letter to the golden era of 3D action platforming like Jak and Daxter in Ratchet
That's
and Clank.
exactly that whole era, like the PS1, PS2 era. That's what was screaming at me.
Yeah, the Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, and then there's boss fights with dodge rolls and health bars, so therefore it is a Souls-like.
And we saw so many different environments too.
Well, like some games, you see the gameplay and
She's
you're
about
just.
to lose her mind.
Well, I was gonna say, you see some gameplay and you just it's gonna feel good. in the
Yeah, you
hand.
can tell by watching somebody else play that feels so
Yeah,
good. There's so
some-
much dopamine being
And then you
released.
actually play it and you get destroyed.
Yeah, and you're like, not that good, but I will get there. It looks very, very good.
It's cute. It looks like a fun game like you would let your kids play as well.
Is it like a good combination of all that? You even saw like a little bit of Kingdom Hearts there, a little bit.
Yeah, definitely a good mix.
And he's grabbing
Yeah, the sword.
Yes.
Yeah.
When the devs describe a game as a love letter to a certain genre or to other games and are not afraid to embrace that,
Biasanya dulu pakai kacamata, kenapa nggak lagi? Aku nggak ngebiasain pakai kacamata ya. Bukannya nggak buram lagi, ya bisa aja buram gitu. Cuman nggak aku biasain pakai
next
kacamata.
up we have Shadow of the Road coming
Kadang-kadang
from
aja kalau
Outcast
misal
as well,
mataku
with another
lelah
mobile
gitu,
games being the
baru
dev.
pakai kacamata.
There is Starfinder from Epic Tellers as well as Gallipoli from Black Mill Games.
Citizens of Nippon.
Kalau masih jelas liatnya ya udah. Ini nggak terlalu jelas sih, cuman yang penting oke gitu.
We bring prosperity to all. Your nation ripples with mutiny.
Biasanya pakai kacamata itu kalau telat makan tuh. Ini kenapa nih? Ini era Jepang tapi steampunk anjir. Aneh sih. Tapi menarik tuh. Cuman gameplaynya hah?
Together, we march into a brighter tomorrow.
Oh, ada sorcerer ini.
For peace. For progress. For the empire.
Nippon will fall. Wait, what? Shadow of the Road. Gak. Tagline. Ini dari awal cat loh.
Carpilloso, and I am the co-founder at Epic Tellers Entertainment.
What?
I'm here to tell you about
Tagline-nya agak ngeri ya, Nippon will fall 2026. Kayak nyumpain gitu loh, nyumpain ini karena Nippon jatuh gitu.
Starfinder Afterlight, it's a party-based
Agak
RPG
gimana
in
gitu.
a universe that mixes technology and magic. We focus on creating great
Ini apa nih? Kenapa kok gambarnya nggak update?
movies like Guardians of the Galaxy or shows like Firefly.
Oh, Kickstarter. Ya, game indie.
While in the game you
Oh,
will
kayak
play your own character,
Disco
in the
Elysium
demo
nih.
you play as one of the companions,
Graphicsnya.
Sterling.
Oh, ternyata.
So you give orders? Naughty.
Oh, enggak sih. Bisa diputer-puter nih malah. Detektif kayaknya nih.
Thanks to the success of our Kickstarter, our game will have full voiceover.
Kalau
The
Altair
dialogue
liburan ke
system is the
Indonesia,
main way to introduce the
apa
player
tuh?
to the
Lalu
world.
lihat hutan Indonesia, jadi kebun sawit. Altair terkejut nggak bang? Altair pertama ngapain ke Indonesia aja? Aduh.
If you have the sudden weird feeling of being naked,
Oh, suaranya kayak John Marston atau
gaze is like
Arthur
an X-ray
Morgan.
machine. By the looks on her face, she either thinks you're a joke or it's her favorite song playing.
Alright.
That was our narrator, Roger Clark, known from the Red Dead Redemption series, giving the right space western feeling we're looking for in the game.
Yeah, sorry to ruin happy hour for you, but I have bad news about the big one and the runt. Don't worry, I promise not to say I told you so.
Lou here is referring to Tycho and Cole, our friends, that after a heist gone wrong, should meet us here. Lou seems to know something about them. If you push Lou about the information she's skipping, she's going to be annoyed, and that will lower your approval with her and limit your potential romance options.
Hold on, hotshot. I own the info. I choose how to deliver it. All right. They were ambushed at Secubot offices. They knew they were coming, so now the odd couple needs our help. Happy now?
We start the combat right away. The security robots are looking for us and are waiting outside the bar.
for my close-up.
The game uses the battle-tested system of Pathfinder 2nd Edition with 3 actions per turn. Lou already starts in a very good place. She's a support character, so it's better for her to stay behind. She will use the ability Get Them to give a bonus to Sterling when he attacks a specific character, and then shoot again. Now, for Sterling, what makes more sense is to close our distance and use our energy weapon.
Slow banget ya. Kirain game detektif ini. Ini jadi mirip kayak Baldur's
We
Gate gitu
decided
ya.
to stay away from a grid-based system that
Atau
gave
mirip
the
kayak
feeling of a tabletop
Mutant.
simulator.
Mutant Zero Day.
Time for my close-up.
This is it. The team is in full production to release the first 10 hours in early access for summer next year. We cannot wait to show you more. Thanks for watching.
Gallipoli is a hardcore multiplayer first-person shooter set in the Middle Eastern theater of World War One. It features authentic weapons, locations, and factions that you play with 50-player servers. How we approach it is we have a unique blend of arcade where we don't compromise on is picking the locations. Those are always the actual battles. The weapons, ones that were actually used, and uniforms that are as accurate as possible and plausibly used. It sets us apart there. We go quite deep on the history, but then again we're more accessible than say some of the military simulators. It's easy to jump into. Game is a bit more approachable. So in that way it sets it apart from another subgenre in the shooters as well. If you wield one of the rifles in the game, multi-action rifles, you expect it to be one-shot the rest of the game is built around that premise. So yes, rifles are one-shot kill, but then again, it must not be the case that somebody goes around the corner and kills an entire team within 1 second. So especially in multiplayer, the fairness concept must be adhered to. So everything is built sort of around making sure that the game feels fair, so that there's a balance between in the gunplay that needs to happen, as well as in the way we handle spawning and how quick you are back into the battle. You're very quick to be in combat here. There's other quirky weapons that are part of the arsenals, but these are accurate. They were used. We don't do experimental weapons. We try to stay as accurate as possible when we model them. The locations we picked, using some geodata, a lot of investigations on images, trying to puzzle together how it looked like when the battle took place. When you're under fire, you have a difficulty reloading your weapon, for instance, and that has custom animations to it. So it's quite elaborate. Not a lot of games, if at all, do this, where it's really dynamic based on what happens, and still fair in a way that the rules are predictable. It's not a random jamming system. It's really dependent on what the player does. One of the cooler things is that you can now build stuff together. Part of the game mode will be that you are able to construct objectives and machine guns and other things together. It's kind of like our evolution of the game mode we had in Isonzo, taken to 11, where it's really you fight over a certain area, and once it's captured you have to construct things together and then to consolidate your position to secure it.
Guys, first we looked at Shadow of the Road there. Story tactical driven RPG in Japan, but also some like supernatural stuff going on.
Okay, so I actually played the demo for this game and it was super fun. It felt kind of like XCOM meets like Samurai, but there were like very unique twists. The final fight in the demo is actually really sick. I hope you enjoy it. There was like cool mechanics and I don't know, give the demo a go and fun stuff. If you like the kind of like XCOM, tactical, maybe even a little bit of like the Baldur's Gate type, Definitely check it out.
There's a late 2026 release for this game. I would say, to me, someone who doesn't play these types of games, I just think the storyline, or not the storyline, like the environment is cool. It's Japan with supernatural elements. Like you saw that big robot walking around.
Sci-fi samurai. I feel like that's like a trend now. Is like taking certain settings and combining it with sci-fi. That's really cool.
I'm not sure I would say it's sci-fi, but I would say like mythology. It's just some really sick stuff. There is a lot of exploration, and exploration is actually quite cool. You can like change things in the world.
Then we had Starfinder coming from Epic Tellers. That's going to be in early access in 2026 as of right now, and the demo is actually going to be available soon during Steam Next Fest. So when this airs, that will be a month away.
So I actually got to talk with the devs. They were very happy that the Kickstarter was doing so well. They also got a very good team in the voice acting team, and the game seems super exciting. I can't wait to hear more about it.
I mean, being built off of Pathfinder, I think you said 2nd edition?
Yes.
You know there's going to be a lot of depth and complexity when it comes to combat too. So, I mean, I can see why people are excited. I can just certainly see.
But to me, what I can already appreciate looking at it is, okay, you guys obviously paid a lot of attention to your art style, being kind of like the Persona vibes of the pop-ups. I think is really cool, and as we know, the voice acting as well. I think they have a couple of notable names.
Sombra, Overwatch.
Yeah, so they put a lot of detail into those, which I can appreciate. Even as Sony does.
And funnily enough, this character that I
homeschooling ya
mentioned,
maksudnya?
this larvae with
Atau remote?
this grub-like
Remote.
character with
Iya, remote
is
ya.
actually voiced by
Sekarang kok ada remote?
Stereo.
Maksudku
So,
kan udah pandemi nih. Kan bisa gitu.
Breach is also voice acted by Neil Bone, and he's also the director of the voice acting in this game.
That's crazy.
Then we had World War I Gallipoli as our final one. Jake got to do another interview here with someone who, I mean, I remember you saying during the interview, it felt like a high school lesson for you listening.
Yeah, it was awesome to talk to Josh, and he gave me a real quick pronunciation lesson, because luckily I got his name right, and I didn't get the name of the game right, because being from Iowa, I said Gallipoli, and it is pronounced Gallipoli. Long story short, Gallipoli is covering the Ottoman front, the Eastern front throughout all of this, and what you'll find with Black Mill Games is they always have realistic weaponry for the side they're covering and for the time being World War I, and they don't miss that here.
Well, the uniforms, there's so much attention to detail, and they even have some unique gameplay systems like the suppression system, where
coolest thing.
It's basically like when the fire's coming in, like you'll start to struggle reloading and stuff.
I don't think I've ever seen, like, I'm sure, I don't know if it's been done or not, but I can't recall another game that's done that.
But it's so clever, because of course you'd struggle reloading when bullets are whizzing by.
What that does for your level of immersion is,
And just to remind you guys, this game, I think they do have a PvP focus, but they're also working on a single-player campaign.
Yeah, they want to do it justice of telling stories of actual battles that did take place, and they're going to continue this string. Like, they're going to continue. I even asked them, like, what do you progress forward on as a studio? Like, he's like, well, we got a lot to do still for World War I. It was a big war, and it lasted a long time, and so they're not even done here. And luckily, they have found themselves a diehard audience that wants to see this story told.
Bang, jam 4.
Well, and it's such a
Ini kita udah 3 jam lebih, belum selesai nih event.
Piece of history, exactly.
Banyak banget bacotnya.
In an interactive way where people can
Temen
kind of go boots
komennya
on the
loh.
ground and see what it was like in a, of course,
Ini
a
YouTuber
gamified version,
influencer.
but I think it helps educate a whole new generation
Konsepnya
on
agak
something
kurang
that would
deh.
otherwise kind of be forgotten.
Oke, Crimson Desert lumayan, Barwin Smith. Dino Blade, ini Dino Blade nih. Yang lu tunggu-tunggu sama tuh Anomalocaris ada. Ya, lu. Dino Blade nih nanti.
We have Where Winds Meet, a game that obviously is already out. But we are getting a brand new boss coming to the Western version of the game in Dino Blade, coming from Team Spino. Incredible looking game. And we also have exclusive interview content with Crimson Desert.
Oke, ini Barwin Smith dulu. Katanya bos baru nih. Oh, nggak main Barwin Smith ya? Main sih beberapa jam, cuman aku nggak bisa main MMO. Terlalu lama. Dan menurutku nggak tahu ya, gameplaynya agak generik ya. Mungkin bukan buatku gitu gamenya. Karena biasanya cuman ya klik doang gitu. Biasaan game mobile. Sinematiknya sih keren deh. Oh, ada domain expansion ya. Bagus loh. Kalau misal Assassin's Creed Jet rilis di compare sama Werewolf Smith kayak gini, agak gimana gitu. Kayak lukisan gitu ya. Ini kita lawan saya apa gimana? Ini eksklusif nggak ya? Ini eksklusif kan ya? Ya nggak pernah lihat bos kayak gini deh. Oh, beneran baru nih. Phantom Download namanya. Ini kok boss fight-nya ganti-ganti ya? Ini jadi bingung nih. Kapan Assassin's Creed Black Flag keluar, Bang? Bukan yang Juni. Maret, katanya Maret. Tunggu aja Maret. Banyak banget bosnya ya. Tadi udah 3 ya kayaknya. Tambah lagi nih. Tuh, tambah lagi. Ini masih nyala keren. Buset, apa nih? Bagus. Rasanya Black Flag udah ada infonya kah bang? Ini domain doang. Mereka udah daftarin domain ini Assassin's Creed Black Flag Racing.com gitu. Cuman nggak ada isinya, masih daftaran. Available 9 January. Sekarang. Oh. Nih. Dinoblade nih. Keren nih. Oh, ada yang bisa pakai sihir gitu ternyata. Kirain pakai blade semuanya. Ini keren loh movement setnya. Ini aku apresiasi movement setnya loh. Ini nggak basic gitu, nggak kayak manusia. Ini dino, buset. Ini senjatanya Dino lain nih. Lo yang Zoro nggak ditunjukin nih. Dino Blade demo available on Steam. Wow. Wow, lihat dong. Oh, ini Crimson Desert. Dino Blade. Udah ada demonya. Oh iya udah
Based
ada.
on the trailers and based on a bunch of things that have seen, clearly slay dragons. Is that true?
There are dragons in the game, and you do fight them. We haven't revealed just yet whether or not you can actually slay
Oh,
them.
tapi demonya nggak dikasih yang mode Zoro ya.
I'm sorry to the Lua fans, but at this point we're not confirming whether or not there's dragon relations.
Could you speak a little bit to how big this game is?
Yang mode Zoro itu di grup ini men, di grup
about how big the
kayak
map
grup
is.
game
I
gitu.
don't think numbers really do it
Pernah
justice
di-share.
because how big is that in terms of scope and scale? But what we can say is the world's at least twice as big as the open world and playable area of Skyrim. It's larger than the map of a Red Dead Redemption 2.
WWM
Open world
bukannya
games
udah
are
dari
about
November.
doing things,
Iya,
having
itu tadi cuman
activities,
update
having
man.
distractions.
Update bos
So we
tadi,
wanted to
bos
create
baru
a
tadi.
world that's not only massive but is also incredibly
Bukan November malah, kalau di Cinanya udah dari tahun lalu kalau nggak salah. Udah lama. Itu November, rilis global saya ingat.
Decision making. What it is though is you choose the type of character that you want to play as in terms of your progression within the systems in the game. And then through basically headcanon, you're having this very different experience than other players because of the scope and scale of the game. You'll be distracted by something, you'll go on this quest line, you'll have an experience that'll be radically different than someone else, even though they're playing the same game. The guiding principle for the game is around empowering the player and not forcing them into specific choices. There's a lot of time between now and launch in March for us to be able to elaborate on those systems, show people if they have, say, I have an hour to jump in and play this game after work, what is my experience going to look like? So we've done a little bit of showing when you're not in combat, how you're taking advantage of interacting the world, harvesting resource, gathering them for a whole crafting system that we have in the game for equipment as well as...
You can build your house apparently.
There is a house. The world is made to be interacted with, and that's also how you learn about the world. So by talking to NPCs, by picking up chickens, then you've learned and your codex will have been updated about the chicken.
What about things that go beyond like fighting? Is there like puzzles? Is there like different types of quests?
That's a great question. One of the things that we showcased, we had a team over to Korea to do a deep dive kind of behind the scenes last September. They came out and we showed them a glimpse of a bunch of different systems. One of the systems that we showed them was in what we call the aerial abyss. It's those sky islands that you see there. That's a very important and pivotal part in the story and quest and mystery surrounding the world. In those sky islands, there are puzzles. They all have a different vibe, if you will, and then treasures and rewards for completing them.
When can people get the game? Where can they get it? What does that look like for you guys?
The game comes out on March 19th. Across
March
basically every
19th.
platform. It'll be available on consoles on PS5, as well as Xbox Series X and S, PC, as well as natively on Mac.
Okay.
First, let's start with
19th,
me.
19
Well, since the game came
Maret.
out, I have played basically every day that game since it came out. I really like
Apa tuh?
it.
Adakah
I love
kemungkinan
how many,
Assassin's
like,
Creed Shadow
we just did get
Napoleon
new footage of a boss
Leonic?
fight, but the game is
Oh.
like goes way beyond
Menarik sih
this.
itu.
You can
Napoleon
play
ya.
it single player, you can do everything by yourself, you can play with friends, you can have a guild, the game like is mind-blowing, especially because it's free, it's not pay to win, everything in their story is cosmetic.
So where is me is such a crazy
dalam
game
lore-nya
because
sih ada.
for one, it's free.
Yeah.
Which is wild. It's monetized exclusively through cosmetics. So they've
Oke,
even
ini
said we
kayaknya
will never
terakhir ya.
monetize power
Mungkin ya.
within the game, which I think is the way it should be. But
Joki
they also want to,
terakhir
like,
mungkin.
it has kind of two sides
Ini
to it,
udah
where it
semuanya
does have the
ditunjukin di
single
sini.
player adventure side, because you can play by yourself. You can play co-op, going through like the new boss fight together with your friends. And then there's also a side of it which is heavily inspired by classical MMOs, where like a player does something bad, they get put in the back of a cart, and everybody comes in and throws tomatoes at them.
I feel like it's a modern MMO that actually knows the audience. Like, we love seeing those kind of things. And those are the kind of things that also appeal to, it doesn't matter Eastern or Western, but those are the kind of things that people are going to talk about.
This game is shocking on how much depth it has.
There
Like,
really is nothing like it. Like,
God,
like
the game is beautiful.
it's absolutely crazy, and every boss fight is different and visually like pretty stunning, I would say.
Speaking of, we watched the boss fight, the Master's Message. It seems like it's based on, obviously, you're reading the Master's Message. You have to fight a different version of this ink boss. While we were watching it, you, Rob, specifically, were like you haven't played this game, but you're watching it and you're thinking, wow, maybe I should play this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Why? Like, what looks good
It
about
looks so satisfying. Like, there's something about it, you know how it is when you're fighting a boss, and it's like, the movement's almost fluid, and you're almost like in rhythm with the boss and their moveset. And that's what makes games like that are boss-centric so satisfying to play. There's something about mastering a boss's moveset.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people like the combat in this game. Like, all that stuff you said, very true. And very expansive. And then the flip side is
the combat is also really
good.
Yeah, it looks very good. I think that's like what Luke was talking about. It's just the fact that it's free to play. Even myself, before it was released, I was so skeptical of it. It's like, there's no way that there's a catch. There's got to, because naturally with the nature of our industry, there's been so much free to play stuff that comes out and you're like, not what I expected. But this seems to be like a really, really quality game.
Then we also saw Dino Blade here, which an action
That's why I'm here.
Some information, an action game centered, obviously fighting as a dinosaur with a sword. The demo is available on Steam right now for PC. It's about an hour-long demo, so you can play it if you want, have some fun. We got to see a new dinosaur in that trailer that has never been seen before, and it's planned for release still in 2026, so sometime next year. No specific date right now. I'm kicking it to Rob first.
Dinosaurs with sword, like it's a dinosaur.
It's a dinosaur.
Soul. Like, dude, like just watching the trailer, like I could feel my testosterone rising. Like my bench press max went up like 20 pounds. Just I could.
The music and everything.
Dude,
really...
dude, the Linkin Park montages are gonna be great.
Dude, it's so
Bang, menurut lo nanti Black Flag mirip kayak Skull and Bones nggak? Lo tentu tidak dong. Skull and Bones biarin Skull and Bones, Black Flag biarin Black Flag.
Dinosaur swords, like you can't really beat that. Then to end things off, we have Crimson Desert. A game
Mungkin grafiknya
everyone familiar with, I would say. It's been marketed
atau
for a
mungkin
very long time.
bisa
People know
dibilang
it's
lebih sih.
coming from Pearl Abyss.
Ekspektasinya lebih, cuman asetnya ada yang pakai Skull and
built
Bones.
on their proprietary engine, which it was fascinating to hear
Kalau
how they've
mirip,
broken it down, because like, you see Crimson Desert and so many things about it look too
kalian
good to
tahu
be
nggak
true.
kenapa kok
They
Skull
look
and Bones
crazy.
itu dibikin
They have
kapal sentris
hundreds of
bukan
enemies on screen.
Black
They have
Flag
all of
kayak
this physics
Black Flag gitu.
simulation. They have
Ya karena
crazy stuff
tujuannya
where, like, they
itu
have sky
emang
islands. You can
membedakan
jump down from straight down to
gamenya gitu.
the surface, like,
Biar Black Flag
Can I
tetap
just,
Black
like,
Flag,
just
kemudian
to
Skull and Bones
explain
tetap
the
Skull and
physics
Bones.
simulation that he's
Kalau
talking
misal
about? So, for
Skull and
example,
Bones
if you have like a
dijadiin
siege
mirip kayak
weapon
Black Flag jadi
and you
saingan
throw
secara langsung
a
gitu loh.
bolt at a house, you can
Ngapain
actually
bikin
see the
IP yang
destruction starting
saingan?
from where the bolt hit and everything else falling down, falling through it.
Well, and people
Padahal
see
satu
that
studio gitu loh.
from our frame of like, you know,
Gak bingung
standard
gitu
open
ya.
worlds in Unreal Engine 5 or something. Not that that's a bad engine.
Makanya
or anything,
dibikin
but,
kapal
like,
sentris.
we see that and we assume, okay, it's going to run terribly.
Meskipun
Okay, it's
kurang
going to have frame drops or it's going to stutter.
aneh
Okay,
ya
this,
sebenarnya ya.
But this is an engine that they have
Aneh banget.
built from the ground up with this game basically in mind. And it's just absolutely crazy because we've had the chance to play it. And that just is what the game is. It's ridiculous and crazy. And what's even crazier is that Will even shared with us some very special
Bang,
information.
menurut abang collab Assassin's Creed sama Far Cry bagus, lumayan. Banyak banget teori-teori yang bilang kalau Far Cry itu satu universe sama Assassin's Creed yang mirip-mirip kayak Watchdog gitu. Apalagi di Far Cry 3, Far Cry 3 itu ada dagger yang bisa ngontrol itu. Orang-orang bilangnya itu piece of hidden anjir. Di Far Cry 3.
we're bigger. It's crazy.
Well, I saw from the first gameplay clip that you could ride
Kira-kira cerita komik kayak
and a
di
bear.
Edward ke
Like,
Asia
quite
Tenggara
honestly,
bakal
I don't know how my
dimasukin nggak?
body's gonna
Enggak.
keep up
Beda.
with this level of testosterone.
Beda scope, man. Beda lingkup.
Next year for the next show, and you're just gonna be walking around.
Kalau di komik ya biarin di komik. Kalau di game biarin di komik. Di game. Maksudnya di game itu tahun sekitaran 17-15 dan kalau mau mepet ke sana kejauhan.
They're putting themselves in the same bucket as
Banyak ceritanya si Edward yang sekitaran situ yang belum diceritain gitu. Mending itunya.
level of where they're at.
Coming March 19th.
Coming March 19th.
Let's go.
Okay, this is.
Thank you, those of you who stayed with us from beginning to end.
Oh
We
ya,
really
udah selesai
appreciate it.
nih.
This has been a blast to work
Udah ngomong
with
thank you
the
nih.
background. Those guys have been amazing.
I think there's a thank you in a few different directions.
Apa
We
tuh?
would all probably
Kayaknya sih
feel.
studio
One, obviously
Far
for
Cry
like
saat
myself,
ini
thank
dipegang
the
Ubisoft
team, production team as well.
sebelumnya
I think
itu
this is
hak cipta
awesome.
Far
Very
Cry
cool that you guys were all
adalah
down to try to do
Crytek
this.
Games.
It's like a new thing. Also, thank you to the audience, right? Like whoever is watching this and trying to engage in something new
Iya,
does
tapi
mean
kan
a lot
iya
to
sekarang
us
udah
and the developers.
Ubisoft sih
Thank you so much to the
buka
devs for
buka
taking us
kemungkinan buat
seriously and
collab
you know,
sebenarnya bisa
being
aja. Apalagi masuk sama
excited to share with
Apa,
us what you have
Vintage
shared,
Studio.
to talk with us.
Our goal was to really try to lower the barrier for a lot of developers to be able to showcase their games, even if they don't have a crazy marketing budget or they don't have some big publisher that can, you know, brute
Udah
force it.
selesai,
I
udah
mean,
selesai.
the crazy amounts of talent that we saw put on display today is wild, and I think we're all very humbled that we had the chance to check it out and share it with you.
Thank you for having us.
It's also something that we can look forward to a little bit, where we did this in a pretty small time frame, I would say.
Yeah, you guys have no
Oh.
idea.
Yeah, we started talking like 3 or 4 months ago.
And a lot of people that we spoke to, publishers and devs, again, thank you again, because they worked very hard to get this stuff to us.
Is wild, and I think we're all very humbled that we had the chance to check it out and share it with you.
Thank you for having us.
It's also something that we can look forward to a little bit, where we did this in a pretty small time frame, I would say.
Yeah, you guys have no idea.
Yeah, we started talking like 3 or 4 months ago.
And a lot of people that we spoke to, publishers and devs, again, thank you again, because they worked very hard to get this stuff to us and out and participate in it. And a lot of people we talked to that didn't participate because they had other plans. It's like, well, we didn't know about this. But hopefully for the next one, we can plan more in advance and people can be a part of it and like, hey, let's go travel to people, right? And do interviews in person. Let's go.
Yeah, we want to grow on this. We want to do it better, but we got to get the first one out there. I can't even stress the amount of times we brought up a game. I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that game existed until you explained it to me, and now I'm interested in that game and the team behind it. Like, that's the beauty of this show. Like, that was our ultimate goal. We want to expose you guys to games you either did or did not know about, and then it also give you guys a different show of like, this is the team behind it and the personalities you can attach yourself to for the future of these games.
It was great putting faces to these developers as well, because you know this industry naturally we're very critical of developers, but I think sometimes we forget that those are real people that pour their heart. That video games are art.
They love it. They love
what they're doing, and I think that's awesome.
Well, to all of you guys out there, this has been the first ever edition of New Game Plus. It has been an absolute honor for all of us to come together, and hopefully much more coming in the future. You know, we all love, at the very core, we love freaking video games, and we got to show you guys so much today, and hopefully more in the future. It's been an absolute pleasure, and here's to that future.
Much more coming.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I don't have any.
Cheers.
Nothing left after 3 hours.
3 hours, man. 3 jam lebih nih. Oke, udah selesai. Itu game case. Nggak terlalu gimana-gimana. Bener-bener nggak terlalu gimana-gimana. Menurut kalian kayak gimana? Komen aja di bawah. Dan mungkin aku harus mengakhiri ini. Silakan lanjutkan aktivitas kalian di pagi yang lumayan cerah ini. Mudah-mudahan aku selesai nih. Oke. Right. Thank you for watching. Thank you udah nemenin. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, tonton kontenku yang lain, and see you in the next video. Bye.